5 minutes on the clock, but just like with Melanie, I'll let it cook a little further if you're engaged in conversation. But what were your thoughts on the debate? I know you were very active in chat. Who do you want to throw some slander at?
I mean, I don't want to throw slander at anybody, but I guess I'll throw slander at you. No, I'm
I'll take
mostly
it.
kidding. So that definition of like
Mostly.
politics without identity, right? That's like you're not talking about any particular group over another group. It's just kind of like all groups or something. I, I think when you get that broad, it's like impossible to even, like what are you talking about, right? It's like everybody
Equivocation.
equally. Does that mean that everybody has equal resources or something? Like how do you apply that, right? Like no groups, no identities.
That's why I tend to use the word equity whenever I was addressing it, because like trying to strive for equality among all people is goofy. And what we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do is address particular issues that are going on in society
Yeah.
and patch the squeaky wheels, fix all the little issues along the way to have a stronger, more cohesive society.
It is analytically
There was a
imprecise,
thing
though.
that there was a thing that Ancom said in his question with Horace about the boxes thing. I immediately clocked it as the equality equity meme. Um,
Someone knew what I was
yeah,
doing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
did too.
So
Oh,
I
I
mean,
had to come up with a
yeah.
fucking question for
the
each of y'all.
and one of
goddamn it.
the
Don't hold me to like it was not
Yeah,
easy for me to
and
go
with that
against the
and with
grain
that
there.
equality and equity meme thing,
Mhm.
it shows what equality looks like. You have the extremely short kid standing on one box, he's still blocked by the wall. You have the medium-sized kid standing on a
Yes.
single box, he's still somewhat blocked by the wall, but he has like a little bit of his eyes slightly over. And then you have the tall kid standing on the box, he's
Mhm.
fully over and can see the game. That's equality. We need equity, as Lethe just said, because we need to figure out like, oh, this person's identity is that he's short, so he needs a little
Mhm.
bit more resources. He needs 3 boxes in order to stand out, so he's overseeing the thing. The medium guy needs 2 boxes, and the tall guy only needs 1 box. That's
Mhm.
how you get equity. At least when you do it that way.
Only need one box,
And
total
then
mog.
there's
Added on.
I think everyone
Yeah.
did really well, by
Added
the
on
way.
by somewhat else, which
Personally.
was to replace the wooden fence
Yeah.
with a chain link fence that you can
Yes.
just see through, which
Mhm.
was removing the systemic barrier. Equity is
I
a
thi-
step on the way to that. It's a way to
Yeah.
fix it. It's a way to get a better outcome temporarily while you work on replacing the whole ass fence.
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
everyone
So,
did
oh,
really well, by the
please,
way.
please go
I
ahead.
think everyone argued really well. That's why I
Sorry.
didn't understand what Melanie was saying.
Yeah, everybody argued well, but that's
So my issue when it comes to this, this is always how the debate gets formulated. Oh, do you want equality of opportunity or outcome or whatever? But it's like just the millisecond that you dive into any details whatsoever, suddenly you get hit with what I was getting baited into to comment wars. Was like, okay, well,
Socrates was adding that sock and tease to people in chat, and I loved it. You were doing good.
Oh, we were all watching. Anyway, go on.
so it's like, okay, we ended slavery. Like, get over it. Just be equally rich now. It's like, okay, well, okay, and then redlining, and then Jim Crow, and then Tulsa Massacre, and it's like, okay.
If
It's
anyone
like,
wants to
okay.
learn about redlining, pick up Color of Law
Hmm?
by Richard Rothstein.
I think it's important here to probably talk about the taxonomy of identity politics now, right? Because
Well,
it's
wait,
true
identity politics
that-
or identity issues?
identity politics, identity issues, and identity politics in this context, in this prompt, are the same thing.
And then
They're
pick up their
identities that are
sequel.
issues. Because identity
both
good. So real
politics,
quick,
okay, is
real
your
quick, hold
identity
on.
orientated or politically around it. That's it.
Circa, let me make the distinction for you the way
Not
I
sponsored.
saw it, because and then you can feel free to knock it down. But the pursuit versus the goal, right? So to me, identity politics is the pursuit, identity issues is the goal. So we are trying to solve identity issues by using identity politics. Does that make sense? That's why I framed it the way that I did. Was
I
because
think it's kind of redundant.
focusing on fixing identity issues as opposed to using identity in your politics.
But
Y'all were
focusing on identity
focused on
issues
y'all were
is
focusing on
politically
using the
politically
identity
Yes,
in the
so-
politics.
Yes, that's the so that was
Razor,
the thing
Razor,
that
one
we were
sec, one
talking
sec,
about in our
Razor.
group chat. Sorry.
Yes.
focusing on identity issues, and I'm assuming in service of a political means, right? Orientating and building your orientation
Sure.
politically around this identity, right? That's what identity
Sure.
politics definitionally means. If identity psychologically orientated or is built around or orientated, your political orientation is built around that identity. That's all it is. So it's the same thing, kind of, as what you just described. It's just kind of like an extra step of definitional words.
Yeah,
but
can one of you
If I
guys
may-
give me an example of politics that's not identity politics?
Mm.
it's
That
would
every,
think about that. Go ahead,
every
Reed.
do.
political orientation from an
yeah.
individual
Perfect
has
question.
identity politics with it.
But that was actually the thing
But
that
not all-
that I was noticing that the
Same
app was
answer.
doing. What you were just talking about there. They were cynically using talking about identity politics. They were being very having a lot of cynicism with how identity is used. Like
no,
how
no,
because-
we weren't. No, we weren't. No, we weren't. No, we
that's
were
what it
not.
sounded like to me.
No, it's a real thing. It's like right-wing authoritarianism has pros and cons. The pro is there's a
Yeah,
unification of the in-group when they feel threatened.
Sure.
They actually
Mhm.
mobilize better for their own protection if necessary. That's a positive
Sure.
thing if you think about it. It can be negative.
I've seen
but
Starship
This
Troopers.
is why understanding
Could
the
be
different
based.
taxonomy of identity politics is
movie,
important because
scared.
there's possessing
no-
an
no
identity
notes.
that is politically mobilizing. There is a national identity. There is racial identities, and all of these things may not organize around the same things. A national identity can organize around a threatened nation, for instance, which isn't good or bad inherently. It can become good or bad, but if you're organizing around defending yourself from Hitler and the Nazis, that's not a negative thing. That would be necessary though in order to maintain survival. So political.
Although we did have a debate
the
about
taxonomy
that
of this is
during
far more
World War
complicated
II.
than what we were discussing. What?
So
Although there was a big debate about that before we entered World War II, where we actually had we had the America First movement
No, imagine you're
and
like
the
France. Imagine you're
isolationists here.
France or something. Imagine you're France. You get.
I would
invaded by
rather not.
Germany.
I was about to say, do I have to?
For
So-
your
Should I
survival,
go
you
grab?
have
Should I
to
go grab
organize
my French
around you.
flag? Joke is it's a white.
You have
It's
to
just a white
just
handkerchief.
it's a hypothetical, man. So you have to
Right.
organize around your in-group being French to survive.
so can I
Yeah, or
read
like
from
how
the
9/11 or like with 9/11,
Oh,
like when we got attacked 9/11, and we became more America than America was ever America.
Correct. So this is what I'm talking about. So
or less
this
America?
can go further down. It's stratified. It can go further down in derivative, all the way down to Christian nationalism almost, or maybe trans topics
okay.
actually threaten the very
I'm s-
existence of
I'm-
what you think your way of life is
I'm
supposed to
still
be.
going to die on the hill that there's a difference between the goal and the pursuit or the methodology. That yes, I
think they're
agree with you
inseparable.
using I again using my identity as a cudgel essentially to try to or to try to use my identity to motivate me to vote certain ways versus using my best interests or my group's best interests to motivate me. Like those are two
But I-
different things.
But you're
One
not
is
using
inherently
identity
manipulative,
you're not
one is
using your
actually
identity there.
beneficial.
And
That's
that's
not
what I
the
was going to
definition of
say.
identity.
My answer for something that's not identity politics would be like individual liberty, like
Yeah.
freedom of speech in
How so?
general.
How so?
Like it still frames around a national identity, but if you want to remove like the whole idea of national identity, just talking about freedom of speech, just talking about 2A, whatever the case may be, is not an identity politics issue.
Why not? What separates that from something like the ability to? Honestly, I don't understand the distinction you guys are making. So why is that?
I think it essentially just works for every American. Every American has the same rights. And as long as every American has the same rights, then it's not an identity issue.
So
Exactly.
I think
What?
I think I
Is
should
that not
I
our
should jump in
entire
here.
argument?
So
It's
Go ahead,
really
Socrates.
not your.
Let's hear from the guest. Come on.
That was
what
our
do you wanna
entire
say?
argument.
Come on.
That
so
was my entire argument.
so first I'm just going to read
Might
two
as well.
sentences out of the original
Yep.
definition of identity politics. So this is from
Sure.
Where is this from?
the Black feminist collective that coined the term. This focusing upon our own oppression is embodied in the concept of identity politics. We believe that the most profound and potentially most radical politics to come out of our own identity as opposed to working to end somebody else's oppression. Right? So
Why would we use that?
their contribution is that their insight is that identity politics is something that everybody always does. My contention is that some of these identities are clearly seen and clearly stated, and some of these are hidden, right? So who's familiar with the Southern strategy? I'm going to read just
I think this
one more
is,
quote, not too long. It's going to be pretty fast.
Go
So
ahead.
I know
y'all
Leatwater
don't
very
don't
well.
quote y'all don't quote me on this. You start out in 1954 by saying N-word, N-word, N-word. By 1968, you can't say N-word. That hurts you, backfires. So you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. You're getting so abstract now that you're talking about cutting laws, and all these things you're talking about are total economic things. And a byproduct of them is that blacks get hurt worse than whites. So this is a very, very cynical, specific ploy that was put into practice in order to make the attacks on different groups or the propping up of different groups seem like they have nothing to do with those groups, right? So whether
Wait.
very, very wealthy
Are you-
people
are
get
you
taxed at
using
96% or
which
20%,
definition again?
sorry?
Which definition are you using? You're using the black feminist theory one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't like that definition because
I mean, that's
it
the original
seems to
definition,
conflate-
but I think it's
Hold on.
great.
Yeah, they were.
It's
the-
not
the-
the academic
I-
one. It's
hold
one
on.
that's
Saying the OG,
inherently
yeah.
biased.
Let me explain. Let me explain.
No,
The
I
reason
wanna
I
hear.
don't like that definition is because it seems to conflate identity politics with individualism.
Okay, how
I
so?
just think it doesn't actually give a neutral idea of
It,
what
it,
identity
ba- it
politics is.
basically just defined individual. It
neutral.
literally just defined individualism and then reframed it as identity politics, which is not what identity politics is.
So no,
They
it's
only
it's
put
not it's not
black
about
women specifically in the
wait.
definition.
So just to respond to that, and then I'll. So it's not about individualism. This is a black feminist collective that's talking about black
That's about
women's
black
as a
women
group
specifically.
liberation. It's not individualism.
So it's biased, and it's not a neutral definition of
What do you
identity
mean?
Politics is. It's not.
No.
academic.
So the definition. So let me break this down. So the definition is whoever you are, whatever person you happen to be, or whatever groups you're part of, whatever identities you hold, you will just definitionally will bring those to your politics. They stated specifically for them because they're a black feminist collective,
That's
but that's their identity that they bring. You would bring a different identity,
S-
That's
presumably.
individualism.
That is a mechanism. Or at
It's
least
not
part of the reason
individualism.
That's correct, but it's not
Wait, what-
specifically about black women, right?
They were talking about the collect, not the single person.
Yeah, so they're talking about black women as an identity that they hold, but the definition has nothing to do with black women specifically. It's about whoever you are. So you would have some specific identity that you bring to the table that is your lens
Okay,
by
so
which you're
Do I need
you're
to
doing
make a
it.
definition of
If we take a
individualism?
dialogue-
that
if
all,
we take a
all
dialectical
politics are
anthropology,
identity politics, right?
Sorry.
if we
Because
take
So
a
you're going to be doing
dialectical
your politics
anthropology
based on
textbook
your
right now,
identity.
Hmm.
are we going to
Basically.
understand identity politics from this? Like salience, prominence,
Yes.
identitarian grievance, all the things I just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean those are all
yeah,
factors of
so-
identity that will inevitably make it into your politics. There is no person that just
So
has
what
like a
if-
neutral
Factually,
identity or
inside of
worldview.
identity politics.
So
That's what it's
The
in.
the secondary definition of individualism, according to Madam Webster, is or Merriam-Webster. Sorry.
No, I
fucking-
like Madam
the-
Webster way better.
The
Madam
the
Webster.
The conception
Good movie.
that all values, rights, and duties originate in the individual.
Okay.
Definitionally, they're conflating individualism with identity politics. They're
I-
basically claiming that identity politics is individualism.
Okay.
Definitionally.
I mean,
How is it individualism? How is all black
Because
women
they're
in
saying
America
that-
individualism? I don't.
Because they're saying that your personal identity informs your politics.
Yes, they're
That is
saying that
definitionally- that
like
is-
as a
that is
psychological
definitionally
claim.
individualism.
Yes. Hold on, Reggie, real quick. So hold
Oh
on, let
my
me get this
God.
one. I apologize. So What you just said there, yes, they are informing their politics as a black woman. You hear that and you think their individuality, but what that actually means is that the history that black women have gone through and how everyone around them will see them. They see black women, they have an immediate thought. People, they have like a stereotype in their mind for what this
It's
type
a
of
social
person
ontology.
is.
Social ontology.
Yeah, so like
it is so
like
talk
another
about
statement of
real quick,
this.
identity.
Real quick, I just want to jump in and say that I'd like to get your closing thoughts
Mm,
because we
mhm.
do have one more person,
No,
Bob, in the
yeah,
waiting room.
absolutely.
I want to get him in here. So
So-
yeah, go ahead and tie it up.
So
Weird.
to give another example of this, we talk about so exactly what you just said. In the Jean-Paul Sartre book, Anti-Semite and Jew, he talks about this process where like Jews exist as a group because anti-Semites keep creating them. The fact that enough people can have enough shared, obviously your experience, one person with one like 2-word identity isn't going to be identical to somebody else, but the fact that there's enough overlap of right. So if you lived in early United States of America and you were a slave, obviously every plantation are going to be treated differently, but you're a slave. That's a big enough thing in common that you can have a shared identity around that, because it's a very like large thing that's impacting you based on that. So it's not to say that every single because every single slave at every plantation didn't have exactly the same life, but they were all under this particular legal oppression. Does that help clarify?
It
It does, but real quick,
the
I just want
definition of
to.
identity politics.
It sounds to me like you're saying that a group doesn't exist until someone hates them.
I mean, that's the way that a lot of these groups that are considered like groups TM, right? So the reason that white people doesn't seem like a group is because there hasn't been, white people need not apply. The reason that we have this salient
They are a
feeling
group,
about black
They are a
women
group,
or
yeah.
Irish
I would say,
sorry.
It's not a group until they're marginalized, basically. Until
It's
you're
not
not
true.
part
So
of the-
it's
So
it's
I
not a
wouldn't say- I
visible
wouldn't
group.
use
It's not a
that.
visible group, but they're all groups and they're all identities, and sometimes they are cynically and intentionally made to seem abstract so that
You're
they're
talking
harder
about
to pick
identitarian
out.
grievance. It's called identitarian grievance. So when you experience oppression through the intersectionality of
Mhm.
race, sexuality, and class. And
Yep.
and
yeah,
Now we
and
know what
it's
it's
called.
called.
I
That's
do have to say,
cool.
I do have to say real quickly about the whole thing where you're saying like white is not a group. To go against the idea of it being that it's not a group until they've been oppressed. It's more groups are created due to tribalism. The different groups will with say the different white people who have done the enslavement of black people, they were a group of a tribe of whites who got together and oppressed.
And they had an
black people, so
identity and they
were
had
a
an
group.
interest.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
there
not
are
that they have to be marginalized to be a group. It's just they have to have some commonality that they then
Well,
say
there
we
are
are
three.
this.
But you were part of the
There are
cohesive
three.
group until one person decides to other you,
Mhm.
right? Or until
No,
part
there
of
are
the group
three
decides to other
taxonomical categories to identity politics. Okay, the black feminist one satisfies the grievance, and
Okay.
the political practice one, but it doesn't
Okay.
do the third one, which is identitarian aim. So it's just not a good.
Wait,
Use
why
for
doesn't it satisfy
pragmatic.
identitarian aim?
Yeah, it seems like it would have definitely.
If you're specifically
No,
oppressed in a
it does
particular
not
way
satisfy
because of
Yeah.
that
You
group
can look it up
identity, then
on-
that's
all
I
have the
guarantee
same
you.
goal.
I guarantee you, the black feminist definition does not satisfy the third one. You can
Uh,
probably find it.
okay. You can guarantee me, but I would love to understand that.
Yeah, I would like to understand it as well.
Okay, so it means,
before I
I'm
like,
gonna
kick 'em
just
out.
quickly
codifying
butt
it
in here
permanently?
and say
Yes.
it's
It means
1:30 in the morning.
reproducing-
I
sorry.
gotta get up
Don't
tomorrow,
leave us,
so I'm gonna head out.
Ancom.
Great to see you,
Alright,
Income.
Sorry.
Fine. Appreciate you
Oh,
as always,
captain, my
Ancom.
captain.
You know what?
Have a good
Actually,
folks.
Ancom, can you give me 5 more minutes? Just 5 more minutes, so I can bring the other
I'll give
guest
you
in
5
case
minutes.
they had something to say to you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
If you
You
stick
can-
around, Socrates, I will bring you back in once we're done. If you're
Yeah.
not interested in that, that's fine. I appreciate you as always. Please answer the prompts. I'll get you back on here as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I hear just Circa's?
Appreciate you.
So it means
Say it in
permanently
chat.
codifying
I got it.
or
I
reproducing-
Okay, yeah,
Ancom,
we
5
gotta
more
get
minutes. I'm sorry.
Income.
Go
Yeah,
Socrates,
yeah.
the
Gotta give
people
it
in
a
chat. Go
I-
Socrates.
yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the person I was chatting to in the waiting room seemed cool too. My levels are probably terrible. I don't know if anybody
No,
can
I
hear.
was deafened so I could listen to the stream. I can't listen to two voices talking
Yeah.
at once. I'm bad at that.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean, make good points, by the way.
I
I'm
did.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad you
Oh,
went
thank
in
you.
there with the proper format in mind. I was just trying to cram my to-do list, and boy, did I fail at that.
Your to-do list of like responses to a bunch of specific kind of points that they made throughout the debate.
Yeah, I was trying to be as conservative about it and
Mm.
like combine as many points and questions as
Mhm.
possible, so it wasn't just like repeating things.
Yep.
But it, I did have a lot, and I only wrote my responses during the times that people were receiving questions, so I didn't even
Mm.
respond to the whole thing, and I still had too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to I don't know. It's tough to be concise about these things, and I feel like we do the audience a disservice when we try to, because these are like really abstract, really kind of tough like ideological frameworks. It's not a simple thing to talk about identity or I don't know, any of this stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with you if there was no melting pot. Like if someone
Mm.
like Circa
Hmm.
didn't have a chance of being up there when he like hyper intellectualizes things a lot.
I mean, I don't mind the intellectual. It's just I feel like he is sometimes like not very clear. Like he's just he's saying, "Oh, it doesn't satisfy this," and I'm like, "Okay, I think it does. Why why don't you think it satisfies? If somebody's oppressed because of an identity, presumably the thing that they're trying to fix is being oppressed as that identity. Like that seems really straightforward. I don't know. I'm not familiar with these particular jargon definitions he's using, but
I
Yeah.
am. I forget what he mishandled, but he definitely mishandled one term. Oh yeah,
Interesting.
political, not separation. Terry.
Identitarianism.
Oh, that too. Because
Or is-
him going to that definition shows that he was preferring an overly reductive definition. Which, if you
Mm,
do understand these things, that does not suffice.
mhm.
But social tearing. He was talking about social tearing as if any group existing might
Ah.
cause social tearing, and that's not what causes it. What causes social tearing is like the tolerance paradox versus people who are pro 1A, right? Like you literally cannot have them coexist on an island. You just
Yep.
can't.
It's like
And
yeah, if you have any like fundamentally any platform, any social media platform must have some rules of engagement to make engagement possible. If it was literally could be just infinite bots, then how could you talk? How could you have any kind of contact?
yeah. And that goes back to what you were saying, though, is like these things are more complicated than most people are ready to handle. And that's why you do need a counter intellectual up there to people like Circa, who does just kind of weaponize the fact that most people don't understand these things, which goes back to that's what the Heritage Foundation does with the way that they frame identity politics, is they know people don't understand social justice. So it's a really easy way to make it into a boogeyman. People just hate whites. It's that simple.
And they also hate like ivory tower, academic, whatever. And so the way that you can win, and this is why the status quo always wins fundamentally, is that if you can make the topic sound uninteresting and unapproachable and just make it sound like super jargony, impossible to follow, whatever, just confuse the topic as much as possible, people just disengage and walk away. And then, whatever forces can politically or monetarily push some kind of agenda, they're always going to win if like regular people disengage, because they just
I think
it seems too
comes more from
complicated.
feeling like the intellectualizing of it is alienating, because When you use words that people don't feel like apply to them, it makes them feel disenfranchised. That's why I pointed out social justice is here for all of us.
Yep.
Like, it may not benefit everybody, but that's because it's not meant to benefit people who are already benefiting from something like systemic violence. And that's another word that did not come up in this debate at all, which is why I just consider it to be a general L, because how can you talk about this without at least talking about systemic violence? We're not talking about normal violence anymore. The criminal justice system deals with that, especially whenever it can. So we're at the limits of that, and we need something to step in like social justice.
Yep.
And how can you have that without identity, without understanding groups of people, how they interact, how they can't interact? Like, that goes back to like the pretending there's a distinction about social identity issues versus identity politics, because anything that is an identity issue has politics around it.
Exactly. Yeah,
They're inseparable.
It wouldn't be possible for there to be a group that's treated a certain way by society and is formed into a group as a result of that without the politics of the society that created that situation. Like, it's they're inextricably tied. There's no way to be a group of people without being a group of people, I guess. It's like it's a very circular.
Yeah, my general kind of prompts are going to be like, so let's say that there is something that only affects a certain group of people, disaffects, and positively affects another group of people, for the sake of argument, hypothetically, right?
Yep.
And the criminal justice system is exhausted in its ability to deal with this, and we need more solutions. Why wouldn't it make sense for a well-defined doctrine like social justice to step in and fill that void? And I'm really curious what their answer would have been, especially the AF, but also to hear what the NEG would say, because there is no reason you can really give. Most things that the criminal justice system cannot handle is a social justice issue, and you're hard pressed to think of things that exceed both categories.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you could say capitalism creates something greater than both of those two justice frameworks, and that's fine.
Right. So, like, if we didn't live in a capitalist nation, or it could be lots of different things. If we lived in a fully communist nation or whatever, the fact that slavery existed but now it ended, within a generation or something, everybody, I guess, would be equal or something, because like money wouldn't exist, whatever, people would be treated the same or something, right?
You can still have money under communism, just people would own the means of production. And so
I thought that's socialism. I thought communism is like the moneyless, classless.
Socialism is subsidized, healthcare for all, basically, subsidized universal basic rights. Communism is the Marxist communism is workers owning the means of production, dialectical materialism. And what you would get from communism is that any sort of historical echoes of slavery would no longer be viable through the economic/labor force means of oppression.
It's the perpetuation of ownership of means of production that allows for like a semi-permanent kind of foothold. It's like, if you play Monopoly and one person gets a turn for 100 years, the other players stay in jail, they're just going to be paying rent everywhere. They're not statistically going to move up. And this is why it's always like, it's not even a bait and switch. It's just a constant reshuffling, because it's like, okay, well, individual Black people in this instance have to just like pick themselves up or whatever. And it's like, well, okay, an individual person has their own duty to themselves or whatever to do the best that they can or something. But it's like suddenly this entire society issue becomes an individual person thing, and that has to be the fix as an individual person. It can never be anything society-wide, even though the harm was institutional and universal.
Yeah, Sirkar's definition doesn't even make sense when you realize that, and aside from the Heritage Foundation's bastardization of it, but when you realize that the definition of it the original one came out of people extending Crenshaw's matrix of oppression, then you realize that you can't you can't make this an identity thing, because Matrix of Oppression literally talks about collectives of people and how they end up falling into the same category, whether they want to or not, because of how they are oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was talking about like individualism, and Vin was also, or Vidge was also talking about that. But it's like, if
It's
you,
really a
it's
straw
like,
person at the end of the day, or a red herring.
if you
depending on,
take
how you engage.
if you take like somebody's engagement with society to the maximum, it's like, well, every individual person has their own unique engagement, but
Right.
we're explicitly talking about groups that encompass lots of people that are like two words, right? So like black woman as an identity. For some reason, Circa was getting caught up on. It's like, well, that's not universal. It's okay. That's this one group's identity. But it's like, two words will not, by definition, encompass like one unique person. It's going to encompass a group. So it's like, we're not talking about individualism because we are talking about a group. Like,
one thing worth pointing out too is that individualism diverges as you add more people to the group. You're going to find more difference among people. Collectivism converges. It focuses on how people are similar, right? And so Circa is focusing on like, these things must be divergent because we live in an individualist consumerist society, and because you can break all these things down to a level like that, to which you should or maybe if I get a chance I will, the response would be, no, actually, when we say identity issues, we're talking about ways in which these people converge despite their differences.
Yep. There's like, when you get into the nitty gritty, so like, if you pull away from the surface and you get into, because this is exactly my comment section, flame war, very polite flame war with a couple other chatters. It's basically comes down to, it's like, well, who should have to pay for reparations? I didn't do it. I shouldn't have to do it. Whatever. It's this thing that it's like, they're basically saying that it's like, well, you could never compute how many boxes a person should need to stand on, because, and I fundamentally agree with this, that it's like, well, you might be part of a marginalized group, but you might have been born really smart or something, or your parents were particularly good parents, and so your life is better, right? It's like, yes, at an individual level, you cannot compute the number of boxes someone needs, but it's just a straw man. It's always been a straw man, because we're talking about like, okay, redlining exists. This was a specific policy that had specific effects, that was put into place in a specific time. We want to correct the specific issues of this. It's like, when you have these concrete things that happened, then dealing with that is not this like, oh my God, there's no way to figure out like how many boxes somebody might need because they might have all these different complicated things. It's like, no, we're talking about fixing this particular thing that happened.
It could just be strategic confusion. I think
it usually
a
is.
good way to never get lost in these weeds is just never ever actually debate this and say, no, they cannot be the same thing. Individual issues, what I call the interpersonal kind of form of violence, cannot be the same as systemic, because interpersonal issues emerge from systems where where the differences between people are greater than the similarities. And the identity that unites people emerges from issues that are more the same across people regardless of their differences, right? So just even on a systems level, they must be two different things that you must address differently. And so I think maybe the talking point is that it's ridiculous to think that identity politics exists to address individualism, because that's a different form of violence than the systemic violence that social justice exists to respond to.
Yep. And I mean, this is where the complication comes in, is that for an individual, their identity politics will be will be much more unique, right? So, your
schemas,
your schemas, your race, your class, like your exact teachers,
I would
whatever. Those
I
will,
would point out
yeah.
that like one of the difference is that like some people are more likely to think about what does this mean to me? What do these
Yep.
politics do for me?
Mhm.
Versus like for trans healthcare and stuff like that. Even if
Yeah.
I'm not able to get it for my own personal issues, I still want everyone to get
Mhm.
it, right?
Yeah.
And
And that's your
so
identity
not-
politics, which is different from selfishly what's good for you. It's something that you can perceive as being a critical moral thing.
And the people who think of identity politics as being individualism just
Mhm.
fundamentally don't even understand the point of egalitarianism in general.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
again being pro or supportive of identity politics and those identities is an egalitarian standpoint because you believe that systems of oppressions, whether they're along the lines of like cis or heteronormativity or white patriarchy, that those things should not be able to dominate by default.
Yep.
And you know, you're right that some of these things are over people's heads, but I don't know. I figured some of these things out before I even had them explained to me. I don't think
It's
people are
not that
incapable of getting
complicated.
them.
People make it
just that they
complicated
don't
in
want
order
to.
to end the conversation.
Yeah, because it's bad news to tell them that it's wrong, rather than rather than it being good news to hear that this thing that you're either really confused or really scared of doesn't have to be those things.
Yeah. And so what you said a bit ago that you know, something that's good for one group, it may be just good for that group. I think, I don't know that I could say that this is like always the case. And there's always like direct, you know, different types of class conflicts potentially. So like, you know, if like really rich people want more money, that means maybe, you know, poor people have to have less money or whatever. There are some like mildly zero
reminded
sum
me.
situations, but there's so much that's not, because for example, people who are rich don't want to live in like a crime ridden city, even if they're rich. So
Okay,
it's actually good for them.
Let me stop
for,
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think it's funny that McGruffus is here because his name reminds me of the word MacGuffin, and I think that getting into the is the rich an identity thing, that's a MacGuffin, because the rich oppress people along economic lines. Now there is some workplace discrimination and all those things, but I genuinely don't think that the rich today necessarily profit from that. So it can like if you end up getting into the weeds, that becomes an actual red herring.
Let's see. Can you explain a little bit more? I'm not sure if I fully got that.
Well, if the rich did benefit from the systemic violence that are echoes of the past or echoes of matrices of oppression, then I'd be inclined to agree that the rich do benefit from identity politics. But I think the rich remove themselves; they alienate themselves from identity politics through their privilege. It's their lack of accountability, if anything, that defines them, and that itself, I actually don't think is enough to make an identity. At least not categorically in the same sense. It's not this, or it's not the same category.
That's true. Yeah. So this is what I was saying with like I guess that's kind of a counter to what I was saying, because I was saying that like, I mean, everybody's got an identity. Some of these are intentionally hidden with you know, you don't say N-word, N-word, N-word. You say, states' rights. You get abstract, cutting taxes. That's along race lines
note
when
the
it comes
difference between a
to
chosen identity. Just note the difference between a chosen identity and the ones you're forced into, right?
Yep.
Black mothers do not want to have the talk with their black sons about how to interact with cops, but they feel forced to.
Yep, exactly. Yep. I agree with that.
And this is what I mean by a lot of these things can be like the weeds, right? Like you've got to come to your own conclusions before you get into this debate. Otherwise, you can just get sucked into these things like ad nauseum. I love that word, ad nauseum.
It's a good phrase. I was trying to remember. I had some other
Sorry.
point. But no.
You keep
I'm just
giving me brain blast, and I'm
yeah.
tonight, so.
No, this is really. Wait, let me friend you. And if we get
Oh yeah, for sure.
separated, we can talk more.
When I don't have a mouse right now, so I'm actually using Discord from a keyboard,
Oh.
so it's very annoying. But when I get a chance, I'll invite you to my server.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. I can invite you to mine as well.
I think, yeah, I've seen you in other places. I know you're cool. We just never had a
Oh,
chance
thank
to
you.
network really.
Yeah.
Or maybe I might have even gotten mad at something you said in chat that I probably overreacted to out of context. I do that a lot.
Oh, I mean, I was pose lying very hard in chat because
Were you in
I
Wix community?
say again.
Were you in Wix community? Are you associated or formally at all with Sonsol and them?
Yeah, so I got Wick into streaming.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So you are an OG. I thought I recognized you around for a while.
Yeah, I came up kind of the same time as like Prime Kai.
Oh, no way.
Like during
Yeah,
the
and I was on
pandemic.
Prime Kai's panels too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, we definitely interacted then.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, old school. Old school Twitch politics.
We've both been around long enough that we just accept, like, I don't remember 90% of the interactions I've had with
Mhm.
most people at this point. Whereas, like, you get people and they're like, why don't you remember me? Why don't you remember the exact debate you had, the exact arguments you made?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's
fun.
tough to keep it all separated. I mean, I'm always happy when these conversations go a little bit further than like the already commonly trod ground because there's so much
Oh, yeah.
like it feels like the ways to shut down a conversation have been so developed and they're so numerous at this point that you can have an entire like 4 hours long panel where you don't actually talk about like anything remotely new or um
I totally agree with you. By the way, I am looking to do panels,
Mm.
but that are kind of like marathon panels. Not necessarily the debaters will go all night, but I will go as long as the discussion is
I see
happening.
people kind
And
of
the
come
point
in
will
and
stay
like
on
slot
track.
in for some period of time. Yep.
And there would be some people who are invited. They are, of course, allowed to stay the entire time if they want. But the whole idea is that, well, no, okay. So I don't want to. So sorry. I want to have two things, right? I do want to have the marathon 1v1, 2v2, 3v3s where people
Ah.
don't come in.
Uh-huh.
But I
Where
also
it's
want
like
to
a
have like
formal
marathon
debate
panels.
or kind of like this or
Yeah. Well, I'm not a formal debater per se. If you mean formal within the
with
context
like
of the
affirmative and
panelists, then
negative
sure.
and
Yeah, sure. Some formalities.
yeah.
But like there, I think I might do something similar to Horseradish. I'll talk to him about it, make sure he doesn't feel like I'm ripping him off. Where there are some slight differences, but also some things that I think could be improved on. So I wouldn't do the Q&A part with like this. I would actually do that as an open panel. And if you want to if you want to have everyone up, so that way when the discussion starts, everyone can join in. But then you focus on who's asking the question right now. That's just as good as right. We're not going to get pulled down, so we can keep talking. That's just as good as what Horseradish does, which I also enjoy. So to be clear, I see these things as like alternatives, two sides of the same coin, not necessarily better or worse.
Yep. Yeah, I mean my interest has been in like one-on-one or very small, maybe 3-person, maybe 4-person like conversations on a topic because I just I have a hard time feeling like interested in doing a lot of these topics as a debate. It's like should X group have human rights? Like I think
you
there's
like
so much to
learning
talk
from-
about, but
Do you like learning from the prep process, which I do?
I do. So like I've done a lot of debates on like Palestine and trans rights, and so I really enjoy doing the research. Usually, honestly, more than the debate.
I hear you, and I think a big thing is like, so we either call everything between what you consider a convo and a debate, either a debate or a convo, right?
Yeah.
But we don't
But
have
there's
merit
like
for proper debate prep. And I think you only have a debate when people are either intrinsically knowledgeable through that topic via experience or expertise, or they've done the prep work necessary to actually debate it.
Yep. Then
And
you don't
without
have a
that
debate.
Without that standard, we're not holding anyone to account. So
Yeah.
if you do debates through my show, when I finally feel like I can start streaming, that will be a huge thing I do, where there's kind of like debate prep etiquette. I will even kind of like not guide. I will direct people through like like setting up teams or 1v1 and making sure you're prepped before we actually even set a time for the debate. And that everyone's on, like, both teams are ready to actually, or both sides are ready to debate that. And then, you know, people are going to be evaluated by how well did you prep for this. Like, it's not that difficult, actually. I think that's one of the more objective metrics we can judge these kind of debates on too.
Yeah, I mean, so for myself, I really enjoy and get a lot out of the process of developing Google Docs with links and trying to organize into, trying to think of arguments and counter arguments and figure out how to like source all these
And
things.
we have such a bad culture.
I unfortunately never
nobody
get asked for
knows-
sources.
Yeah, and nobody knows what to expect. Like, like, do I actually need sources, or am I just
Yeah.
cluttering the whole thing up and wasting time?
But the best thing is when you
what-
share them with the opposition, so then you read each
Right.
other's sources. That's the creme de la creme.
And Emmett actually, I've had some conflict with him on setting up debates when he says he's going to do an internal critique, because we have very differing definitions on what that means apparently. But he was at least very commendable with setting up like a debate where I'm going to take the time to put together a document on gun safety, because I'm anti-gun, that I think makes the case as concisely and comprehensively as possible that owning a gun does not make the individual the people around them safer. And that's going to take a lot of work, right? And then I'm going to give him time to make his own response doc, and then we're going to make a formal time for the debate, right? And he's on board with that. So I actually do respect him as a debater now that he's able to do that. And I think this comes down to when you actually have people who appreciate that, that's when a culture starts to form. And then we can have conversations about like debate prep etiquette, right? Because I had an issue with like prepping for a 3v3 here. And this is kind of like, inside baseball. So McGruffus, if you're listening, also please don't divulge these details. But something about Game Boy and the way he
I should
wanted
say, FYI, I probably should have said this way sooner. I'm streaming right now. I should have. Sorry.
Oh, never mind. Game Boy's cool. Game Boy's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Game Boy's a champ. I have no issue with Game Boy. Thank you, though. Good call. Good call.
That just made me think of it. I haven't streamed in a bit, so it wasn't as front of mind. But
I thought this was an inside baseball server, but if you're streaming, we're only doing outside baseball. Is that even a term people use? My brain was just like, wait.
I've never heard that. It took me a moment inside baseball. I was like, oh yeah, I do know what that means.
Must have been one of those terms before identity politics ruined everything.
It did. I just watched. Just came back from watching the Odyssey, which had not so much exactly to do with identity politics. I know that was like the big angle. It was like, oh my god, Helen of Troy is black. How could a black person be beautiful? I don't get it. Woke.
Well, okay, so they'll argue historical accuracy, which, first of all, nuance and like immigration was going on at the time, and they were actually pretty close to Africa. So you can't say that there weren't black people around there, for one thing.
Africa versus California. Or like
Well, no,
North
I meant
Africa versus California,
Greece.
which is closer to Greece.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. But like, I think it's just bad media literacy at that point, because the critique of the casting choice and whether or not that has aesthetic value or cultural value is one thing, versus the overall critique of the entire story and its filmography is something else entirely. And they're not doing that second part, which is an actual critique of media, right? They're just doing political punditry. And
It's a
you know,
thought-terminating sentiment that's like,
you know
oh,
what I should have
it's
said,
woke.
if anything?
Don't think about it.
You know what I should have said, if anything? I actually kind of do agree with the AF, because identity politics as the Heritage Foundation has has ruined American politics, specifically how we
Yeah.
talk about it, and punditry on the right, which is now super lazy.
Mhm.
It has like zero ability to critique media because
Yep.
of those sort of framing devices. Whereas identity politics, as it was originally conceived, is something we still need to this day and very relevant.
Yeah. In the same way that it's funny, it's like woke is bad, and the reason that woke is bad is the reason that what's commonly understood as woke is what it is rather than what woke actually is and always was. Right? So it's like
This is why the less
the
response
degradation
to
of
what is a
language.
woman should have been what is a woke.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't. Okay, McGruffus is up. Is Horseradish, does he always bring everyone up who's in the waiting room at the end, or is it kind of based on how much time is left?
I don't know. I haven't been to a lot of these.
Well, if everyone leaves, I'm gonna drop down too, because I should really kind of focus on just, you know, not being online all the time. So if if we do cut it short, just let me know if there's anything that you're looking to do a 2v2 or something on, or even if you want help prepping for something. I'm so good at like breaking apart like the different ways that you can prep for something, right? Because you know there is like valid criticism to the idea that like if you get too into the academic side or too into the statistics or whatever, then you lose the ability to respond naturally to your opponents. You do want to know your talking points, but I think that comes from debate experience. I don't think that's something you can arbitrarily map out their dialogue tree as if they're NPCs and predict every single thing, because that means they can trip you up if just by saying something stupid. But also, if your opponent is ignorant, you don't get any smarter just by doing that. So you have no upper hand in terms of being knowledgeable in the subject. So to me, there might be a balance. I think that to me, being knowledgeable is the foundation that then you build upon your response tree that you get from experience. And as far as debate etiquette go, this is what I mean. We kind of lack that culture of how to prep for debates and how to actually be ready on a subject. Because I didn't get good at debating the trans sports thing until I had my first debate. Then I realized what I'm not actually knowledgeable about, even though my opponent did not bring that up very well. Then I learned about those things. And then I started doing better along those lines. But then, you know what the crucial thing is too, is if this debate has already happened, make sure you defer to those. Make sure you see how people have already argued your case, because the Jangles Science Lad versus Destiny debate on trans athletes was one of the most eye-opening things for me of how important it is to be knowledgeable on subject matter. I can send it to you when I get a chance to.
Can I ask you all this?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Do you prefer this like slower style debate where you like each person gets like their own segment and like no interrupting, or do you prefer
I'm pretty adaptable.
The more like blood sport debate where both people get like 5 minutes and they're just like going back and forth?
I'll do blood
Depends
sports,
what
but
you
not
mean.
on these topics.
It depends what you mean by preference, because like
This
I'm
topic's
very
very
impulsive,
nuanced.
right? So it does take a lot of self-control to do the formal stuff and the very structured stuff. But then again, I feel like you can have more progress with the structured format.
You can kind of bury someone when it's like quicker. If you know what you're talking about, you can kind of come in and like lay point over point over point, and then you can kind of like bury them into a hole. Versus this one, each person kind of gets their own like 5 minutes to like break everything down.
It really comes down to what you're more experienced with at the end of the day. Because if your talking points are and like what you've
DebateCon FOMO stream, where if you're a creator, you can come through, you can hop on, we can have conversations, but the chat might say, okay, I want Circa and Vigi 1v1 for like a $2 or whatever, you know, nothing that structured, but just a place to hang out and drink that FOMO from DebateCon.
Hey.
For sure. Welcome back, everybody. Yep. So we rated out. We are
Thanks,
still
Horse.
live, just so you guys know. So
I
but
am
as-
also.
and also, as you can see, it's a bunch of people here. So try to be as respectful as possible. I'm only going to be around for about 30 more minutes or so, and then I'm gonna go crawl in bed with the wife. So I'm going to be
That's
sort of moderating. In general, though, we got a team full of streamers. Everybody here knows how to fucking act. So please.
Fuck y'all.
Asian, thank you.
So actually, now that I've joined in, I did think of one thing I really wish I would have said prior to this, if that's okay. I think I do actually agree with the AF that the way that the Heritage Foundation uses identity politics, and I'll explain my thinking. When you look at how like someone like Ben Shapiro critiques something like the Odyssey, there's not actual media critique there. There's not critique of the filmography. There's not critique of anything to do with the media. It's purely based on casting choices and their identity. It gives conservatives a lazy way to critique something they're just mad about because they're not getting their way. And yes, so in that sense, in the way that the Heritage Foundation has weaponized that phraseology and made people afraid of social justice, it has ruined American politics or identity issues. However, how it was used before that in the context of how Black feminists meant it is actually still what we need today and very relevant.
How so?
So, do you know what the Black group was called? The ones that you were referencing?
It's the Combahee River Collective.
Yep.
Right, and
Yeah,
I'm bad with names, so I would have said no,
they were-
just to be clear.
They were a group
I just looked it
of-
up, which
of
is why.
Black female Marxists from 1977
Mhm.
that made Marxist communist arguments against how they were being treated, which you could say, I mean, maybe their arguments
It's
were valid.
biased. You're saying it's biased.
It's biased. It's
You're
biased.
saying it's based. He's saying it's
inherent.
based.
Kind of biased. But the
No.
I
I
said
just
based.
recognize that
takeaway-
horse rated me.
That's
the
not how you
actual
spell based.
takeaway from it is
Yes,
correct.
leftists
though. I
tend
just
to
want
be
you to understand
biased in
that, Bob.
favor of leftism and
it
against
is-
capitalism. That is what
Oh
they
my God,
tend to
it's
do.
not leftist in that way, Melanie. It's actually saying something that is uniquely neutral.
Sorry, can you break that down?
It's biased because it's from that Marxist collective of Black women, but it actually satisfies a neutral framework for identity politics. It's not
Yep.
only
Agreed.
servicing left people.
Agreed.
Jesus.
So you're disagreeing with
Well-
the guy? I'm sorry, I can't see your full name. With the B,
You can call me Bob.
Bob.
Bob. Mm-hmm.
See, correct. I also disagree with the framing because, like, the way you're thinking of identity
Which
politics
part
and
are
that it
you
can be
disagreeing with?
compatible with individualism kind of
Which part
assumes
are you
that
disagreeing with?
that
What part?
identity
What part? Be
politics can be
specific.
divergent. But
Be
here's the issue,
specific.
right?
What part?
Like, you
Mel,
get into
Mel.
sorry. Hi,
What part are you rejecting?
I'm trying to explain right
Don't-
now.
Don't live
Yeah,
in the
she said the
meta
part
and
about
don't wanna be
individualism.
Specific. I
Yeah,
never
if you
said
let me
anything about
finish, it will be
Never said a
comprehensive, and
single
I'm trying
word
to make
about
it as concise as
individualism.
possible. I
Not
swear.
even once. Not even once.
Okay, I think you're just dodging my argument and talking past me now.
Then why don't you actually be clear in your argument?
Yeah, I don't understand the argument either.
Wait, so
It's
what's
clear to me.
so what's the
Maybe it's
issue
not
with
clear to you
the?
'cause you won't let me
You're
finish.
gonna want to finish it.
I want her to
Well, as I
actually
was
tell me
saying-
what I said.
It's not
Yeah.
That's my argument.
You're taking for granted that that you can make identity politics an individualist thing. But the only reason you think that is because
Where
you
did I
fundamentally.
say that? When have I ever said that in this entire night?
I believe that was your argument. If I'm
Yeah,
mistaken, I
I
do.
thought when we
apologize. I
were
can apply
talking,
this
that's
to-
what you were
I
saying.
can apply this to the AF group in
It's not
general,
even close.
if you would prefer.
Wait,
Like,
so
literally,
So for the
So-
AF group in
Was
general,
the app group.
I'm explaining why you cannot conflate individualism with identity politics, and the reason.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty
It's
clear
easy,
point. Yeah.
Weird.
I never said individualism though.
was that
cool.
vigilante?
I'm
Was
not
that not you?
refuting that
About
point
individualism.
anymore. I'm applying this to the AF in general, who did make that point at some point.
Where?
Are you refuting that?
I mean, we were
Yeah,
talking,
I
and
mean,
and
I
you were
technically-
vigilante.
I did
Said
technically
that.
in the after. I technically did in the after party because I called
Okay,
the.
so I just want to respond.
That's
to
what we're
that.
talking about.
Finish,
because I called the
please.
definition that you're using individualist
Mhm.
because I said it is more an individualist definition than
That
like,
wouldn't-
the
that-
academic
then it wouldn't
definition
apply.
of
Negative though? Weren't you
it-
talking
And it
about the
wouldn't apply
negative?
to identity politics. If
Weren't you
Right,
you
so-
make
talking
it
about the negative?
individualist, it falls apart from the real reason identity politics was ever coined
Can
in
I-
the first place.
Can I ask like a
Wasn't
broad
Vigi talking about the
hypothetical
negative when he
question?
said that?
Sorry, two people said
He
two
was
things at
talking
once.
Yeah,
about the negative.
real quick,
He was
I'm
talking
I'm
about the
going through
negative.
the notes. I don't see who. I remember somebody did bring up individualism, but it was
He
later on. I
said he
think it was
brought it up
after
in the after
actual
party.
debate.
Yeah.
It was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was me.
Mhm.
So
Can
what
I-
was your question?
calling
Yeah, I
out
was gonna
because
say,
I didn't get my chance to
Bob.
respond. If anyone gives a shit, if not, keep talking.
No, we
I mean,
will,
if you're
but
just gonna
Hold
again,
on.
Can I
lie or
ask, like, a-
fabricate,
Hold on, we
Yeah,
do.
hold-
Give me a second.
I'll
Hold
make
on.
it short.
try to
Hold
give
on.
everybody a chance
Too many
to talk.
cooks in the
Bob, you
kitchen.
said you had a question.
Yeah, I have a broad hypothetical question for everyone here.
Yep. Shoot it.
As far as like current politics, you've got mainly a two-party system. There's some independent parties, blah blah blah. Do you think it'd be better if we had political parties based off identity?
We already do.
Do you?
No,
No.
That's literally what we have
No,
now,
no,
and
no.
that's the fucking
No, no, no,
problem.
no, no,
So,
no.
like
No,
if
no, no, no,
political
no.
action groups were political
mean-
parties, you're saying?
I mean, a literal political party for all the black people,
A
a
trans
political
party.
party
A
for all the
black-
white
black
people.
Yeah,
people.
like
Yeah.
I
One
said,
You
have
have
a
a
gay
gay
party,
party,
political
you have a
action
white.
party.
Yeah,
Hey,
Would
Bob,
the
like,
how
Black
does that work
Panthers
out?
would the Black
No,
Panthers
no,
have
no.
qualified? If they
Black
became
Panthers
if
absolutely
the
would've
Black
qualified, yeah.
Panthers became a political party, would that have qualified in your mind?
It's a political identity. It's
if
yes.
if
It's
they
not a good one.
if they
Right.
got to the
What's
front
not
of the
good
line,
about
yeah,
it?
probably, but no.
Okay.
Do you see the crux of my question of like, do you think it's better if we based our whole political system off of an identity?
If it meant
Or
that the
should we
Black
have-
Panthers could
or-
get elected
They're
into
arguing that we
office,
already do.
if it
They're
meant that
arguing
the
that there's
Black
no
Hey,
way that
I'm
doesn't
trying to
happen.
answer. I'm trying to answer. If it meant that the Black Panthers could get into office, then yes, I would actually think it's a good thing.
You just answered a question with a question. That's
Are
not
you
an answer.
serious?
No,
So,
no, I
do you-
was clarifying
You
so I
did say
could
You said
answer.
if. You said if. So
So, in the reality
Currently,
of this, if we
even
had a
though
black
there's
group,
on a broad space, our two parties are based off a different sect of ideas, and you might disagree with the ideas of the other party, but we have a broad system that's based off ideas of whether you want a more conservative fiscal structure or a more progressive societal structure. Those
Most
are
people
two
think
different
both of
parties.
those are too broad.
Can I
Well,
can I
so-
propose what I think is a
so-
better
Real
structure?
quick,
Both our parties
yes,
are
but Lethe wanted
economically
to say
right
something real
wing. It's
quick.
not about
Yeah.
that. It's about
Lethe and
social issues.
Socrates. Lethe, what were you about to
I'll
say,
stop.
sir? No, it's just Lethe was going to answer the
well,
black
I was going to
party
say
thing.
the disproportional nature of what goes on in America would allow for massive inequality. If it were a black party, that party would never ever get any power whatsoever.
Cheers. And what were you going to say,
I don't,
Socrates?
I don't even know.
So-
if we want
so what I was
answers
gonna
about
propose-
it.
Socrates had a
I'm not
solution.
even
Go
calling
ahead.
for that. I'm just saying it's goofy on its face.
It is
So-
goofy, but I'm
So
just
what I
talking about
propose
reality.
is that we do form political representation based on our identity groups. So people who work, for example, for a living, people who have some kind of systematic oppression versus them, and people who have empathy toward any group within that or see any of their struggle within those other groups, form bonds of solidarity together and create
So-
political actions that benefits and
Right.
removes
Right.
pains from
Yeah,
all of those
awesome.
groups.
So you just
How about
described
that?
the union class. Do you know
This
who's
is
been busting
identitarian
unions for the
political
last
practice.
100 years? Is the elite
This is
class.
identitarian
Conservatives.
political practice.
Yeah, so
This is
all the
called
people
Yeah,
versus
but
the
that's
elites.
not
Okay,
conservatives.
fine.
Okay,
the-
capitalists. Let me rephrase that. Capitalists. There you
Yeah.
go.
I think the cross here is that like
Join the
Jake
DSA.
Hugo.
we're coming
Join the
from
DSA.
a perspective of identity politics, meaning specifically immutable characteristics, specifically
No,
your
no,
race,
no,
your
not
gender.
immutable.
That I'm saying that is how I think he's coming into this conversation with that understanding. That's how I
Sure,
came.
that's a
into it
fair
before I
Oh,
did
you mean
enough
insights,
reading to
yeah.
see. Oh, okay. The identity
You mean
politics
Bob is?
doesn't just mean we're going to do things for blacks,
Mhm.
we're going to do things for women, we're going to do things for the transes. They're saying it's
Mm-hmm.
they're defining it in a much broader way, and by saying
Or a less
uh,
broad
uh,
way, a more
that should-
specific way. Right, because we're talking about
Immutable
like
means-
economic classes as well that are mutable.
More-
Unchanging.
Right, so that's
more
broadening the
specific
definition.
would mean less broad. Yeah.
He's talking more-
specific
more
means
narrow.
less
So
broad.
they're adding more into what counts
Yep.
as identity politics
Mhm.
to the point that you can't have politics without identity
You can
politics.
definitely-
because everybody has an
yeah.
identity, and so that's why I was
Of
saying
course you can.
earlier
That's not
that the-
why.
That's what I was
That's
saying
not why you
earlier.
can't
That
have identity
definition.
politics.
That's well, I mean, that's another way to say it too. Yeah, but that's what I was saying.
So this
the-
is
the,
individualism. So this is what
the interesting.
this
yeah,
is
the
what Melanie was
interesting
talking about.
conversation Would have been what we were presenting as, I mean, we didn't say specifically immutable characteristics, but I came in hard from that aspect of identity politics because I don't think there's a useful conversation in just saying we shouldn't use politics
So any
or
definition,
politics is bad. That's not an interesting
Identity
conversation.
politics is defined as political orientation built around your identity. That is everything in a way. There's different types of identity politics. That's where the actual specificity comes into play. That is the
Melanie
academic
was going to
definition.
say any definition. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Melanie?
Thanks.
Any
Definition that you can turn into individualism is not actually understanding the true spirit of why identity politics / identity issues were first proposed to be something in the first place. So when you think about these as systems, right? Identity comes from traits that if you put a group of people together, there will be more difference between them than similarity. And collectivism or
It's
collective comes from the
It's the
notion that if you
self
put a group of
and
people
the other.
together, if you put a
It's the
group of
self and the
people
other.
together, there will be more similarity than difference. So they must be different things, right?
And you must
With-
relate it to what?
With identity
You're relating to
politics,
what?
what we are saying is that identity
God.
politics matters when people are put into politics where their identity forces them to
Where they
reckon with those
politically
politics.
orientate
For
around the
example,
identity.
Sirkar, do you
My
want an
God.
example? Sirka,
You're
do you
just
want an
not
example?
listening.
You're right. I'm trying to finish what I'm saying. Do you want an example? The example is
'cause you're
black
wrong.
mothers having to have
You're
the
just
discussion
wrong.
with their black
Circa.
sons about how to deal with
I would
orientation
like
police
the
built
officers.
example, and then I
around
would
your
like to hear
identity.
Circa say why it's wrong. That's my personal opinion.
In
I
that
don't-
I
order.
agree.
Sounds great.
I vote what Lux
The
said.
black
Let's go.
feminism, okay.
Wait,
are
Circa.
politically
You still can't.
orientating
We all just
Well,
agreed
around their identity.
that Melanie's
Hold on.
talking first.
I
I don't know
also
what you're.
want to
Finish
hear
your
what
example
Melanie was
first.
starting to say about black sons and black mothers. What the fuck was that point?
Yeah, so the example of being forced into a politics of identity is black mothers who are forced to have the discussion with their black sons about how to deal with police officers without getting shot, even though they'd rather not have that conversation.
That's what I thought you
Political
were going to say.
identity
Okay.
existed before that, Melanie.
I understand. I'm not saying that's what defines black identity. I'm saying that's where
You are,
identity
though. That's
politics
exactly what
becomes
you
a
are saying.
relevant thing to
Don't pawn it
collectives of
off as
people
something else.
along the lines of identity.
Don't pawn it off as something else now.
I didn't.
Huh?
I brought it back
Identity
to
politics
identity.
can have
Yeah.
cohesion, actually. Right-wing authoritarianism is inside of identity politics. That is a
Does
cohesive,
identity politics
unifying
apply
thing.
more to the similarities among a group or the differences?
It's a reflect. You relate it to yourself, don't you,
I
Melanie?
think you're
What else would
sidestepping
you-
now. I
How
think
would you
you're not answering
find
my
differences
question.
without yourself?
Well, no,
So-
because if
No?
I have if I have a chosen identity, then I can have that regardless of politics.
And you
But if
relate
I'm
it to what,
forced
Melanie?
to take on an identity because the
What do you
world
relate
around
it
me
to?
makes that the default,
What
then
do you
I think
relate it
that's
to?
identity politics.
What do
Did
you
you say
relate
you get to
the
choose your
differences to?
identity?
There are
No,
some
s-
identities you can choose. There are some
Mhm.
identities you are forced into. It's not
Yep.
black
What
or
are
white.
you relating the identity
Isn't that
to,
what defines
or how are you
immutable?
building it?
Yeah.
You're relating
There's
it to
immutable
yourself.
characteristics
Mel.
that's part of your identity, and then there's
Ones you don't
things
get
you
to choose, and then there's
Yeah.
ones you get
Circa.
to choose. Correct.
Circa, I feel like there's like
your religion
fundamental
is one of those
things.
you can choose.
So
Socrates, go ahead.
so
Hold on,
So-
Socrates. Fundamental things. Go on.
So I feel like there's fundamental things that you're not getting about what I think a few of us are trying to build as this definition. That it's like, if
It just-
you are
okay,
black in
okay.
America, not every person is the same person. Not every person the same. Not every person is the same person. Okay, but there are certain experiences you're more likely to have based on different identities when those identities come from some kind of societal or like legal impact that is related to groups that will be felt upon you in a way that is recognizable as a commonality between each other as a group. And that's the kind of like the seeding ground, in the same way that like I was talking about how, Jews at some point in Europe could try to forget that identity, but suddenly Third Reich comes up, Second Reich comes, blast from the future,
Yeah, third.
comes
Actually,
along,
real
and
quick,
it's like,
really quick.
and it's like,
What is
you
the
can't
definition of
not be
identity
part of that.
in
They make you
psychology?
be part of it.
Academic definition. What is the
Real quick,
academic
Circa,
definition
is
of
that
identity?
the only relevant definition of identity?
It is when we're talking about
Why?
psychological freaking political concepts.
Did the
What
black
is-
feminists use psychology when they came up with their definition?
Yes, they did invertly. It
didn't.
is a socially recognized.
They used
category
Crenshaw's
or
Matrix of
meaning
Oppression
through which
and
a
material
person understands
dialectical.
themselves. That is
The
what
ma-
identity is.
So, out of an
Wait.
academic book from a niche school of thought, literally a
No.
soft science degree
Ma-
has to know that definition. That's the only definition that's relevant.
So
Are you
the thing
rejecting the
that-
definition or not? What are we doing here?
Circa,
Wait,
I'm
The
just wondering,
definition
you
recognized
seem caught up
category
on nobody else's
affiliation
definition is
through which-
valid. So I'm wondering why it is that niche definition is the
I
only one that
actually
matters.
did not. I said the black feminist. If we listen, I said the black feminist definition accurately describes two of the core taxonomy of the
Mhm,
major
but it wasn't
three.
good enough because
taxonomy
it
is
didn't
not the
hit
right
number
word to
3.
use here.
okay, Circa,
It's
I feel like I
biased.
said some
It
stuff
doesn't
and you
hit
didn't
number
respond at all to what I said. I would
Yeah,
love to
I
know
feel
what you
like
thought
that-
about what I said.
Reframe,
Because
re-say your
I
questions
did,
directly.
and I was
please.
trying
Well,
to
hold on,
describe.
hold
I
on.
wanted you to tell me what the definition of identity was.
And then
Okay,
you said
I
no,
would love for you to
because
respond
it
to what I
wasn't a
said.
Specific one from your dictionary. Yeah. So
He
go
never
ahead,
gave me
please.
his definition. I just
I
said
wasn't
it
giving
afterward.
I wasn't giving you a premise 1, 2, 3 definition. I was talking about a situation. We can
I
try to
know,
figure out how
I
to
just-
formalize it. I'm
Mike, I
sure
wanted a clarifying question. I just
Okay.
wanted to know what your definition of it was.
of the term identity. I didn't give a. I'm not talking
Yes.
about the term identity.
I know, I
I'm
asked you
talking about a
first.
scenario to see if we're on the same page with like a more kind of like personal,
Would you
relatable
agree that the
thing.
definition of identity is somewhat fundamental to this?
No.
I think if we could define identity,
No, I don't
we
agree.
probably
You really
wouldn't
think the
be
definition of
talking about this
identity is
for the
not
last 4
fundamental
hours.
to what you were describing?
I think that we can talk about
Alright.
phenomena and then we can talk about definitions to try to
Identity
formalize it
means
later.
Who a
Roundtable?
person is,
Roundtable,
including
let's
their
give a
unique
definition.
qualities, beliefs, and personal history.
One more
No,
time.
it's
Say that again.
Really simple, man.
One more time. Let's hear it.
Identity. Identity
It
means
just means a
who a
socially
person is.
recognized
I got-
category or affiliation.
Your voice
That's
sounds
it.
funny,
Through-
Lutch. Can you say it again?
through which a person understands themselves. That's it. It's very simple.
Identity means who a person is, including their unique qualities, beliefs, and personal history. It is the set of traits
It's
that make one person
relevant
or group
because Melanie.
different from others.
God, it sure is difficult to hear you,
So
Lutch. Can you do that
Melanie
one more time,
thinks-
please? Can I hear you
I
one more
can't
time,
defend
Lutch? I
myself.
just need to
This
hear
is
it so I
annoying
can
as
hear
fuck,
it.
dude.
Well,
Please
I know.
don't
Well,
shout.
we're trying to hear, and you won't let
Talking
us
over
finish
everybody.
literally the definition. Please,
Okay.
one more time, Lutch, from the top. Everybody
Two
quiet.
short sentences. Two short
Thank you.
sentences. Identity means who a person is, including their unique qualities, beliefs, and personal history. It is the set of traits that make one person or group different from others.
There you go.
Cool.
or group.
Everybody here agree with that definition?
Not
I think that's
necessarily.
fine.
Recognized.
I'm gonna need you to repeat it
Not
one more
necessarily.
time.
It's crazy.
I
That's
apologize.
literally-
There's
I have
personal
an
identity.
No,
one more
Bob,
time.
you were right.
Social
Literally,
identity.
We can't agree on the definition of the word, and that's
We're
the
fucked.
No, we
whole crux
can.
of this
We
our-
can
we're
agree
fucked.
on that.
Conversation.
I can
I-
I can explain why we need to maybe consider a different definition because again,
So we're now talking about changing the definitions of words.
Wait.
But
Okay.
realize-
Not
I
changing.
can't
We're
explain
trying
why,
to
but
agree
it's all
on
good. Let's just get
the
mad.
actual
Let's just get
definition.
mad. I have a different definition. Let's not figure out
No,
why. That's
Melanie's
good.
definition fits inside of that one. I don't understand what's happening.
it doesn't.
Then why are so?
actually.
Let's just
Yes, it
talk about
does.
identity. If
Is it-
everybody's
first
on the
of
same
all-
page
No,
with identity,
Socrates, will you please ask Circa the questions one more time now that we all know what identity fucking means?
Okay.
We don't apparently.
So, oh my god. Okay. We don't need to have a particular agreed upon definition of this particular term to talk about things that we can all agree and view with our eyes that they're happening, okay? Or just logically come to us. We don't have to have a full formal framework to just say if there's a group of people who are if there's a group of people in a country, society, governmental system, whatever, who are subject to certain types of conditions, typically as a group, they will experience those as a group, and you can discuss that situation as a group. Does what I'm saying resonate with you at all? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So that's the bedrock
We did
that
it.
seeds. Awesome. That's the bedrock that seeds when people are talking about like, oh, this is my identity based on this thing or whatever. That's something that you just happening to you. That's not something that is chosen.
It's a
Like, oh, I'm an
socially
ANCAP.
recognized
That's a
category.
chosen
Social-
identity.
Oh my god, can I talk ever?
You asked me a question. I was responding to it, and then you
You're not?
interrupt me
Can you
midway.
wait your turn?
Am I good?
Go for it.
Did you hear what I said? Are you going to respond to what I said, or are you just going to say
Yes,
something
I
else?
did. I even.
What
do you
did I
mean?
say?
Engaged with it completely.
Okay, what did I say?
I agreed with your framing of like with non-academic version. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. to me.
Okay.
What matters is the substance, right?
What
It's
was the
correct.
substance of what I said? To you, we might not understand it in exactly
we
the same
can-
way. I would love to hear what you think.
You said,
I said.
when people have experienced shared conditions, or things that act upon them when they share in their experience of them. essentially.
And that's an identity that is
That's correct.
forced upon you rather than one that you select, right? Does that make
It's a
sense?
socially recognized one. Recognized, socially recognized.
Well,
That's what
and
identity
cap could be
means,
socially recognized
category.
identity, right? But
It's
you could
socially
select that
recognized.
versus something else. But being
Now
black
read
isn't something that you
definition again.
choose
What did she say?
within-
She said through differences, correct?
through similarities.
So
Yeah,
you
no,
are
I
socially
said it-
recognizing the identity because of
Similarities.
May I rectify things
Differences.
because you
Similarities.
misstated my position. You get
How
get
did I
a-
misstate your
Because of
position?
differences.
get
Okay.
She's gonna tell you.
individuals-
It's because of differences. Go ahead, Circa.
you get individuals when you put a bunch of people together and they have more differences among them than
They
similarities.
socially recognize, correct?
Not necessarily.
What is? Oh my god, dude.
Like if I
What does
identify as an
differences
alien from a
mean,
planet
Mel?
that
What
nobody
does
else
what
knows
does
about, that's still an
identifying
identity I can
differences mean?
have internally.
What is
If I
identifying
lived in the
differences
woods,
do?
Circa, if I lived in the woods and never met another human being, would I have an identity? Would I have a self
You'd have a
identity?
self. You'd have a
Sure.
self.
And I would identify
Yeah.
by myself, right? So regardless of any social
Yeah.
interaction ever, I would
Mhm.
have an identity.
A self identity, yeah. But I want to point out that the individual, even in the forest, can relate to himself. That's also a relationship, right? A past self, even.
I guess.
As
I
well
don't
as
know.
can you
Socialize
work-
with
you can
myself
try to
regularly, that
imagine
is
someone who
correct.
literally has no other human experience.
Sometimes
Fuck we doing
That's
here,
kind of
boys?
People
anti-human,
can
I
identify
think.
with the recent forms of oppression their people face. That's crazy.
What are we
I said they
talking
could.
about?
I'm so confused.
I don't know. I
right
feel
now.
like we've fallen off the rails.
Yeah.
I
So-
assumed it was the drugs, but maybe maybe I'm wrong.
I'd love to come back to the notion that Socrates brought up about chosen identities and non-chosen identities. The most difficult part for me in claiming this is, as I was saying to Bob before, that when I hear identity politics, I hear the typical thing that right wingers don't like,
Mhm.
and so
Don't like woke.
there is an understanding that there's a broader
DEI.
understanding. But you're right. I do think
That's why I
that
asked him that.
I think both teams kind of missed the mark here on bringing up those differences, the difference between a chosen identity and an immutable identity. I personally wanted to stay away from the immutable thing because it just didn't fit with my original thing.
What
But
would
yeah,
an example of a chosen identity be?
So
Religion.
I kind of brought this
Religion,
point
music,
up before when
anime
when
fan.
I don't think
Well,
you
no, I-
choose your religion.
I asked if we should
Absolutely.
I
have
think you do. Actually.
political parties. I asked if we should have political parties based off race, religion, creed. So as a white guy, if I wanted to join the black political party, should that
Hell
be
yeah.
allowed?
I think they should vote
That's-
if you
We
can
have
come
the,
to
feel
the
free. We
Agreed,
have the
but what
white.
is a black
We
party
have
then?
the white
That is the
Panthers.
question.
That
We have
depends
the
on
white
what you
Panthers,
mean by
so yeah,
having a,
that's-
an
Separate but
identity
equal.
based-
Okay.
Wait.
Separate but equal.
White
That's the
dudes
question.
join
Is
black
is,
culture all
is
the
it
time.
only
They do. They get
personal
accepted
traits
by
that you
black
can't
culture
change, or is
depending
it
on
traits you
certain
can pick?
Identity signaling.
That's the question.
I'm just gonna note
There should be
that,
a draft.
like, it depends on what you mean by having an identity-based party. Like, if you mean that allies can join, then that sort of erodes any sort of value of argumentation it would
No,
give to
no,
have one
I
Right.
that is
Exactly.
exclusive to a certain
Exactly.
race
I
or
meant-
gender or whatever.
Exactly.
I meant quite literally based off identity politics that our political parties should be based off
Right.
your religion, they should be based off your race, they should be based off your creed. I mean a quite literal system that we separate.
Okay, I
everyone
don't like that. That
into
sounds
different
that sounds awful.
Yeah, that sounds.
That's
That sounds like
no,
fascism or something. I don't know.
No. That would
That's identity
no, not
politics.
even. No, hold on. Not even that. Hold on. It doesn't even.
It
doesn't even
absolutely
sound
is.
like
That's the
Hold
point we're
on.
arguing.
Hold on. It doesn't even sound like fascism. It sounds like feudalism. It sounds like you want us to go back to feudalism,
Yes.
like a neo.
No, I'm saying you want us to go back to feudalism because you're
Huh?
arguing for identity
No,
I don't
politics.
No, that's
no,
not
what you just
at all.
said. No, hold on. Stop. No, let me have this, please. What you just said
Take it.
is that we should have this thing where all the different identities have their own political parties. Is that not what you just
Yes.
said?
He was asking
Yes,
that hypothetically. He wasn't saying we
feudalism.
should have that.
That will lead to feudalism.
Right. That's
I'm
why
saying
he's
that's
asking. He's
identity
not
That's not
saying.
feudalism.
Okay,
He's
I'm
not
gonna
making the
jam
claim
out,
we
but,
should do
would
this.
lead
He's
to it.
asking you if you think we should do this.
I'll
The
catch
way
you
he's
guys
saying
later,
it
yeah.
sounds like he's saying we should do
Good night,
this.
Zerga.
Don't
Great
don't
job
put
tonight.
words in my mouth, Razor. Don't put
Take
words in my
care.
mouth.
I'm hearing
I'm-
you. We should do this. That's what I heard.
No,
I didn't
I'm
say
making
you
a-
think we should do this.
It's a
Stop.
hypothetical that he's presenting.
I'm making
Does
a
this sound good?
I'm making a hyperbolic example of what identity politics actually represents. What you
No,
are describing,
So
what you
I
describe
can break
identity
down.
politics is what I just
Hold on,
described.
hold on.
Yeah.
You're saying we should break down political
Hold on,
parties
dude.
to different sex identities, and I'm saying that's
No.
wrong. And you're saying it's
So-
right.
You're putting words in my mouth now. You're putting words in our mouths now when you say that.
I'm
no
not
one,
putting any
no
in your
one
fucking mouth.
fucking said anything about
Yeah.
we separate people out based off of their identities. We're saying acknowledge their identities. Why do you think my whole thing at the ending when Horseradish asked me the question, I said I am black and American. I am bi and American. I have a girlfriend who is a woman and American. Lutch is, what are you, Indian? I forget.
He's an
Indian
American.
and American.
He's a Jesus.
He's an
Yeah,
American.
American.
Razor,
no
Razor,
way.
I don't, I
we
don't think,
acknowledge.
The Jesus.
Razor, I don't think he said anyone said that. In fact, he admitted no one said that when he admitted it was hyperbolic.
He
I
just
think.
said-
Wait. I can clean this up. Okay, give me
Right,
2 seconds.
right.
I can clean this up because
Go ahead.
I know exactly why he was asking that and what the implication is, and I can explain what we're talking about and what we're not talking about. Right. So the idea when we're talking about identity politics, what you bring to the table from your identity, it's not to say, oh, you're a black woman, so you could only ever advocate for black women. You could only ever fight in the black woman squad. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is I can relate to you being oppressed only because of the ways that I've been oppressed in my life. I can't, so me, not as a black woman, cannot relate to black women being oppressed in America from the framework of being a black woman because I haven't lived that, right? But I have other things, hardships I've experienced in life, things that I feel are unfair or whatever. We all have human experiences that we can relate to others, and it's from those things that I bring with me into the fight of fighting for my own identities or fighting in solidarity with other people. Does
Not
that
gonna lie,
clarify?
I think you're being too charitable to Bob here.
Well, Bob,
Go ahead.
did that do it? Did that help at all?
What do you? No, that was good. What do you mean when you think he's being too charitable? Can you break that down more?
Well, I don't think you were trying to buttress like the pro-identity politics side with that argument. Am I correct?
Oh no, absolutely not. I was being very anti-identity politics. I think.
Well, I
identity
took it as
politics
neutral
is-
and maximum good
No, yeah,
faith
I was-
always. Socrates TV.
Yeah, no,
You-
I
hold
appreciate
on,
the good faith
hold on.
argument.
I,
I
do-
think
I now have to ask this. Bob, do you not think history affects modern day?
I think history is very important to learn, and I think what
Does it
history
affect
can.
modern day though?
History
Can you
ended in the
interrupt me? I
90s,
think-
guys.
I need a yes
Can
or
you
no
not
to that
interrupt me?
Yes
question.
or
Can
no
you
you
not
answer
interrupt
that
me?
question?
I think
I need
history is
that
very
answer to that
important to
question
learn,
first.
and
I need a yes or no to that question first. Does history affect modern day issues? Yes
yes,
or no?
but yes,
Thank you. Now
yes,
continue.
but I think it's very important. There's the cliche saying history repeats itself. History rhymes,
Mhm.
doesn't
I
repeat
know that
itself.
phrase, I know.
It rhymes, and I think what we can take from history, if people that actually want to make these arguments and want to actually like talk about these things, learn history. We're not saying you all don't do that. I'm saying a lot of other people that want to have these conversations don't actually know history. Then we can progress the conversation forward more.
Right.
It's not falling in the past to our own mistakes. It's figuring out what we did wrong in the past and making small changes to make things better.
You know, for someone
Right.
named
You
Bob,
agree
you're
we need
If I
actually
could
to
quite
piggyback
deep.
on that. If I could piggyback
So
on
do
that,
you
I think
agree-
the other.
Sorry,
Sorry,
go
Razor, go ahead.
No, yeah, Lutch.
So I was gonna
No,
say,
no,
I was gonna
Lutch-
say, so
Lutch
you
was
then
sitting on it a
agree.
while, but
No, I got it. I let them finish. Yeah,
I
go ahead,
apologize.
Razor.
But so then I'm hearing that you agree that we need to acknowledge the pain of the histories of people so that
Ooh,
we
yeah,
can
no.
make the correct things.
I'm
make
not a
the correct
history.
choices to do that.
I'm not a history denier. I'm not a Holocaust denier. I'm not a slavery
I'm not-
denier.
Based.
I don't deny any of that happened. That all happened.
Yeah.
That's all factual history.
And-
I'm saying rather than dwelling in the past and making the same mistakes we made 50 years ago, we need to push forward. And the arguments y'all are
Okay.
making are dwelling. You're dwelling in the past.
You're not.
If I can get a chance, I want
Had me in the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Let's have it real quick, and then you can go.
Well,
Melody,
I mean,
please.
I was going to kind of take it in a different direction and just ask about what the limiting principle is. So why don't you guys go ahead? I'm not
Okay, go ahead, Melody.
Yeah, since it's on the table, like, would you not agree, Bob, that like, just because we've taken care of like obvious echoes of slavery doesn't mean we've taken care of them all. There's going to be some repercussions from slavery that exists in a
True.
way that the criminal justice system can't deal with. And if
Do you know what?
I'm
Sorry,
trying to
finish.
make make this
Sorry,
quick.
finish.
And if
My
you
bad.
agree
My
with
bad.
that, and if you agree with that, would it make sense that social justice, a long-standing doctrine of how to do what the criminal justice system can't, would be what fills that role?
So I'll answer that. I know it's a cliche to answer a question with a question, but this
Go ahead.
will kind of set up my point. Do you know what one of the largest institutions of slavery is right now?
Prison.
You mean wage slavery under capitalism or something else?
Modern day slavery. What's happening today?
The prison system.
Yeah, wage slavery under capitalism would be my answer.
No, that's
I'd
completely
say
false.
I say the prison system.
That honestly, that might be a good answer. I would say human trafficking.
Okay, what's
Human
your point?
trafficking.
It's not the
human
biggest in the
trafficking
US.
Right now.
It is something that we
probably
need to
said the
deal
world,
with.
but we're talking
So
about yeah.
But is that the
human
only form of? Is that the only way that
no.
the history of slavery can affect
But-
people now?
but this falls back into
Hold on, let Bob
identity
make his
politics.
let Bob make
So
his point.
we're trying to talk about identity politics. Currently, one of the largest sections of human slavery right now is human trafficking, which is migrant people that are being transferred from country to country, not just from Mexico to America. It happens all across the world. It's all across the world. Human trafficking, specifically sexual labor or migrant labor, where people get transferred from country to country and then they take their passports, or they never had a passport, and they get funneled into these systems of oppression where they then have to work off their debt.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
I'm kind of lost. Just let me ask a question to bring this back home a bit. Do you believe systemic violence can be a thing, not direct violence like the
What do you mean
trafficking you're
systemic
talking about?
violence? You have to specify that more.
Violence that comes as a form of default because the system treats one group of people differently than another, and therefore there's inequalities, right?
What do you mean the
So if-
system? Do you think when the cartel kills someone, it's systemic
Yeah, I
violence?
was going to give an example already. So, for example, black people being more likely to be shot by police while unarmed. Even
I think
though
that's false. I think that's false. If you look at statistics, there was
Okay, hypothetically. Okay, let me ask.
I'm
though,
not talking about
hypothetically,
hypothetical.
Per capita.
It's not so much about whether or not it's false, but hypothetically, if that were a thing, would you understand that as systemic
Yeah,
violence?
it's bad. It's not. I'm
Okay,
not
so
condoning
to the
that.
extent
Yeah.
that systemic violence exists for black people, could you not see how that could be from a history of racism?
Do you think America invented racism?
It's a question,
nothing
Bob.
I said.
What?
Nothing I said matters to that, so I don't feel like you're answering my
This
question.
is all talking past each other.
No. All right.
Yeah.
Just answer the question. I would like to take this, and
I gotta go to bed. I appreciate y'all.
So good to see you, man.
the anniversary.
Great job.
You did this to me, Horseradish. You did this.
I did. Well, and
You
I was
made
gonna
me this
say, I'm
way.
gonna ask y'all. We had a rare banning the other night. We don't have any mods in the room. I'm gonna ask y'all to please try to help. Do
Who
your
got
best
banned?
to behave yourself. Someone who said to someone else, "Kill yourself." 51 times.
yes.
I think.
Oh,
Like 20.
I can say
And they only said in Minecraft 49 times.
Minor now.
Again,
Yeah,
in
thing. Everyone say
Minecraft,
hi to Rich
Minecraft.
Rain and his raid. He did so much.
Hey, appreciate
Whoop,
it.
whoop.
So anyway,
Say
the
hi to
point
Rich
is,
Raid, raided in.
please don't let me find out about a story that I got to fucking deal with in the morning because I don't have time.
I would say,
appreciate
Horse,
y'all. Yes.
if you mod Lutch right now, I know he will lock down chat. 'Cause
Haven.
that's what he does. So
I appreciate that. My mods
is-
really small.
I am
I love it,
not
trust much. And the
interested in
fact of the
modding
matter
a
is,
Discord.
yeah, I was about to
Is it
say
more-
that
is it
that's a
more-
huge responsibility. And
go ahead,
if,
put them on.
uh,
Yeah. It's okay.
anyways,
Is it more an auto ban, or if I say don't kill yourself 51 times, will I also get banned?
Yes.
Yes.
again,
Reverse
please just try to use
psychology.
your best behavior. I will talk to you guys next
I was
week.
gonna
Have
hit
a great
lunch with
week.
the
Take
end
care.
closers so hard.
Thank you for hosting,
Yep,
Horse.
take care.
Can I
So yeah,
Please, for
where's
the
the
love of
limiting
God, clear this
principle
up.
on this? Where's the limiting principle on like what Socrates brought up about? Okay, but black women are going to have certain experiences, but not every black woman is going to have those same experiences, and not every black
Thank
woman
you,
who
Rip
is
Haven, for the
short is.
follow.
Was that?
Oh, sorry,
For
I
people-
forgot. I actually unmuted at the time. I was
Yeah,
just
people are-
saying thank you to Raven.
People are individuals. They are also a part of groups. Sometimes
Right,
they
so-
cannot choose what groups they are a part of.
Right. So my question is, how do we determine what group one belongs in?
So, for example, when you're part of a group, like as a cohort that is more likely to experience a form of systemic racism, then it's possible to say that that group does have a form of identity politics that they are dealing with, or identity issues.
And let me ask. I think
The limiting
this is going to be
principle is-
useful. I think it's going to be useful clarifying question. Are you asking how do I figure out what identities I hold,
looking
or
for-
how do you figure out for like somebody else? Because those are very different.
Either. Whether it's you, there's. I mean, I think I agree. They're different questions, but like within
Mhm.
you, am I brown enough? I was born in
Mhm.
America. I've never been to India.
Mhm.
Like that. Do I get to be part of the Indian cohort? Or a lot of people in chat, oh, you're white. I'm not fucking white. But would I? That's what
You
I'm
act very
trying
white.
to
Hey,
determine.
real
I
quickly,
mean, you're
just
gonna
hold on,
catch
real
strays
quickly.
or other
We've
Indians.
real quickly. It's been we've had a few quiet people so far. Appears that Vigi I've not been hearing him speak too much. Please continue.
That's
Please,
their
Vigi,
problem.
go ahead.
Fuck Vigi.
Skills
I
issue.
have tried to talk multiple times.
You're
Okay,
still
so-
Yeah, I
here.
know, just if you do next time, please just go cut in. And if anything, I'm currently the moderator since everyone's still on my stream right now. I will get you in. Please go.
Gotta learn to crash out.
Okay, Jesus fucking Christ. There has been such a misrepresentation of what intersectionality is without actually mentioning intersectionality, and it's actually pissing me the fuck off. Because I don't know if Lutch and Bob know what the fuck intersectionality is. Intersectionality is the idea that bring different groups together in order to expand your coalition in order to improve things. The problem with the way that the modern left represents intersectionality, and fucking sorry Socrates and sorry Ninetales, you both have been fucking doing this entire fucking time, is the idea that, and this is what we were trying to talk about on the panel, and I didn't bring up intersectionality for a reason because I didn't want to explain it to Lutch in the fucking before the fucking panel.
Skills issue.
The problem with modern intersectionality is the fact that we try to put the individual groups problems first when trying to deal with the intersectional issues and expect everybody to fucking work together instead of actually putting the group issues together, which would be the primarily economic fucking issues. And when we put the primarily economic fucking issues first, you actually get things done. Instead of what we do on the modern fucking left, which is put the individual groups shit together first and expect it all to fucking get fixed, which is not how things actually work.
Well, these are
Let's say the
systemic
modern
issues.
online left, because there's
Who's
actual leftist DSA who are actually getting shit done. Shout out Mazora, Mom dying.
Shout out.
Love you,
So wait,
babe.
is
Oh my
that-
God.
These are issues of systemic
Does that
violence.
fall under the question that like does that help us towards the limiting principle thing?
Well, no,
Or is that a different
because economic violence is a form of systemic violence that is actually quite poor at discriminating, and there's no economic incentive.
So
for
the limiting
corporations
principle
to
is-
actually do that.
What is the
So-
limiting principle? How do I determine what that principle is or what that threshold is?
So I think I'm gonna try to interpret what you mean by limiting principle. Like, what level should we
Yeah, I wanna
set
ask,
what a
like, what is
group
this-
is
what are we
at? I
talking
think
about,
that's
limiting
what you're asking.
When
Yeah,
something
so,
stops.
I think where it's
we
useful.
have
Yeah.
the human being identity, we have the man or woman identity, we
Mhm.
have the the black man or woman and the black trans
What
wo-
man,
wo-
black
whatever.
man? What does the song go?
Can you choose to be a
It
can you
goes-
choose to be a fan of a certain sports team versus can you choose to identify as a human?
I mean, I'm a fan of
No.
Rams, so
I mean, I don't technically believe in free will, but in the conversation that we're having, yes, that was what I was trying to piggyback off what Socrates
to
said. That we have
both?
chosen identities and immutable identities,
Okay, right.
and so
So
I'm again with it, whether it is one or the other. How do we know how far down before it's only black trans midgets with green hair?
Sure. So I think what's
one of the
so, yeah.
here, Socrates, if
Oh,
I may.
Yeah,
One
please.
of the things that we need to bring up is the matrix of oppression, which is where that collective actually got their definition of identity from. Because where Crenshaw says identities that are relevant to things like identity politics comes out of are forms of dominance from groups that have the power to dominate, and those groups that are dominated, right? Groups that are dominated typically don't want to be dominated, but groups that dominate typically do. And so there's already an inequality between the chosen group and the group without with the immutable identity, or the identity that they're born into. In this case, I wouldn't say it's totally immutable, just immutable from their perspective.
The
Mhm.
limiting principle is what?
Mutability.
But
What?
so do I belong in the short camp or the brown camp?
So once a trait stops being mutable, it is now a
Yes.
chosen identity. It's like as a limiting principle.
I
That makes
didn't
total
choose to be
sense. It's
brown
totally
or short.
cogent.
Yeah, I'm
You're
5'8".
technically in both.
Wait. So based on what you just
Porque
said,
no
Mel,
los dos?
how do I determine if I'm in the short group? If I'm short enough to be in the short group? Am I brown enough to be in the brown group? Or am I Indian? That's what I'm trying to get at. It doesn't seem
little
like
bit of everything.
that limit actually exists.
Well,
And
wait.
then
So
you just identity politics just
Well,
Yeah.
any
becomes
limit can cease to
individualism.
exist if any limit can cease to exist if you zoom in on it with particulars enough. We're making
Mhm.
universal statements.
That's
Okay, so
identity
then-
politics.
That's what I'm asking then. Where is the limiting principle that is practical in the way
It's
that
not
you're
in the
saying, instead of just
particulars.
saying,
It's not in
well,
the
sure.
particulars.
So what you
All-
just said
all
is
Give an
No,
example
no,
of how you would determine
wait.
what you are in.
Indian Jesus, square of opposition. It's not in the particulars. We are saying that all identities cease to be chosen when they
That's
stop when they stop being immutable.
All right,
It's
no,
all
but what?
Again,
Hold
I'm
on.
giving you
What-
two different immutable
What he's
characteristics of
asking.
myself. And so I'm asking
Let
you
him go for it.
how
You're just
I,
failing
under
to use
your
the square of
framework,
opposition.
how
Your
do I
logic is
determine that?
unsound. You're
What
just
he's
failing to
asking
use the
is
square of
Okay, hold on.
opposition.
Pause real quick. Hold on. Pause
No,
everything.
hold on,
Everything.
no.
Hold on, Bob. Hold on. I know he's asking, and I just want to get this really clear. I want to get this clarified. I do, but Melanie, for the lay people, maybe the audience, and people here may not understand, explain the square of opposition for us. Thank you.
The square of opposition is a logical table. You basically make a 4-point grid, universal affirmative, universal negative at the top, and you have your particular affirmative and particular negative at the bottom. And how these things interact is what informs you on the basis of traditional logic in debate. And the reason that you need to understand these things is because we are not making a universal affirmative. We are making a universal negative to Indian Jesus's universal affirmative that there is no limiting factor, and we are saying yes, there is for all identities.
So
And
based off that,
so based off square of opposition, Indian Jesus needs a particular affirmative to discount the universal negative. That's the best I can explain it. Otherwise, you have to look up square of opposition and
No,
learn
I
it
mean,
yourself. I'm
that's
sorry.
the point that I'm making is that, like, yes, obviously, if you look at anything in the twisted way, you could make this look like that, special numbers and all that stuff. What again?
I'm attacking the
if you're-
soundness of your argument
Sure.
because
So,
the logic does not hold.
I'm not making an argument. I'm not making an argument. I'm asking a question.
You're saying
I
that
said
there
it
is.
doesn't
You're
seem
saying
like
that
the
there
limit
is.
exists, but I'm asking you where that limit is. So if you're telling me that there is a limit, that's what I'm asking. I'm not making a claim. It's exactly what.
Well,
exactly
wait,
what First
so
Amendment
I
did.
think-
I came in and
I
asked
think-
a question. He's like,
So-
defend your
wait,
claim.
wait. Can I just get in? So
if your argument is just, I do need to respond to this. If
Argument
your
is
argument,
not existent at this moment.
if
I
your
have a
argument,
question.
I don't care. I'm still going to say this. If your argument
Clearly.
is that that's not good enough
Why
for you,
would
then
anybody
there's nothing
care?
I can really do
Because I
to
care so
convince
much
you.
about what you're saying. Right?
If your argument,
Right?
if your argument,
Right?
Are you
No, I
trying
don't
to
care. So
cool
I'm just gonna
crash
keep
out,
going.
bro. Very
I
cool
don't care,
crash
so I'm
out.
just gonna keep going.
Are you
Why
trying
is
to
being an adult
compare
hard
this to
for you?
mathematics? Because based off what you just described, it sounds like you're describing cross, multiply, and divide.
No,
Of when you have two fractions next to each other and you're trying to solve for x, you
just
cross,
logic.
multiply, and divide.
it's not math. It's just logic. There are no numbers. There's no group theory or set theory involved.
So I think
That's what it
I
sounds
think
like, but
I think in Jesus what you're asking is it's like what is the correct level to set this at? And what you were saying is like practically speaking, like that's a like you don't have to have a full like theoretic approach to an operation to do this. Like that's something you empirically kind of like figure out, right? Like you talk to other people, you form coalitions, and you try to work out what are like the relevant group identities that you're talking about, and you do introspection, whatever, for yourself to figure if you want to figure out why am I coming to this struggle in this particular way, you can do that. But like when you're talking about setting these levels or whatever practically, like that's something that you empirically derive. You don't have to have like some kind of
Give me
mathematical
an
formula.
example. Like, I'm
So
not trying to be thick. I just
no,
don't
no, no,
understand.
no, no, please. So like, so it, I think, I mean, the level is going to be what is useful. So so if we can recognize laws that exist that discriminate based on race, then race is definitely going to be an applicable thing. What these particular women were talking about, who coined the term identity politics, they were a specifically Black feminist collective, and they talk about. I can find the quote if you want to hear it, where they're talking
They were a
about
black
how the
They were a
how the
black feminist Marxist group from 1977.
yes, exactly, that group. So they were talking about how a specific type of situation, particular to Black women, wasn't being addressed in a way that addressing things for women or things for Black people generally, that particular intersection needed to be focused on itself. And so I think it's less so that like you have this like grand design for where do you set those things, and you kind of like people come to the table and they posit like, okay, I think this intersection has some critical features that would be lost in looking
Okay,
at one
so-
of these things individually.
Yeah, like,
is
hold on,
is that a
like
That's why I
yeah,
disagree with
like
you.
I've been stating it I stated it during the debate in my closer and everything, and in my answer to Horse's question when I said someone is Black and American, someone is a woman and American. There's also a Black woman and American, a Black gay woman and American, Black
So-
gay trans something anything woman and American. You are all these things, and you are
Wait, can I just ask a quick-
acknowledging every single section of their identity so that any kind of laws that are put into place are covered or at least taken care of and acknowledged.
I mean,
Okay,
I
just-
think
just, I want to type on
Yeah.
what we were
Hold
saying
on, let him
before
go.
about the limit. So, Socrates, you're saying that the limit or the group is based on how the oppression manifests. Is that fair?
I think practically speaking, a lot of the time we would specify a particular level and intersection that has some relevant feature that we care about. So while it's true that if you are gay and Black and trans and a woman and an American, that all those in general could be relevant features, but a particular situation might be an intersection of one or two or maybe three, or it could be like deeper, like this is like the messy world of society and the world, and there might be some situation particular to like some more intersected versions of those. In general, we seem to be kind of like burrowing down in terms of our consciousness about these things, where we think about like, oh, just class or just race, and then people try to figure out how to unify and like more deeply understand the ways that those interact. So it's like it'll probably get drilled down like a bit at a time.
I'm getting a
Yeah.
better understanding, but I'm getting further into, oh, this is not a good way to think. But that's a different conversation.
Right, so
But-
I
Go ahead, Bob.
I have to jump in because
Mhm.
I was googling this earlier during the debate, and I just had to look up my references. So what you all keep referencing is the Combahee River Collective statement from 1977.
Mhm.
It is a vital text in socialist black feminism,
Mhm.
asserting that liberation requires destroying capitalism, patriarchy,
Mhm.
and white supremacy together.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, brother. Preach that shit.
I'm not preaching.
Hey,
I'm
it's
saying
loud. No, sorry.
I'm saying that
Can I quote
that
you on that?
is a fundamental breakdown of what makes this country great.
How
I
so?
understand the first word in it is it requires the breakdown of capitalism.
What
And
was
I'll
the
be
first
to
word?
Yeah,
say,
it's kind of. Have you not seen what we kind of look like with everything? Everyone keeps saying
I'll-
it's because that communism
hold
causes
on.
things to go
No,
bad,
no,
but then every
no,
single time you point out the bad thing in America, they go, "No, that's the normal."
No, I'll be the first to say we're not in a free market capitalist system right now. We are in
There, baby.
an oligarchy capitalism. We are led by
normal capital, and the normal capitalism you're talking about is something that Marx said, yes, we needed it for now, and then it needed to shift into socialism because now it's gone too far. We've gone too far, and now everything is breaking down.
Oh, so the same thing I
Communist
said
oligarchy.
about identity politics.
yeah, and then
There's a slight
it
difference
says
in the identity politics.
and then it
still.
says liberation requires destroying the patriarchy, which
Yep.
Mhm. Sure.
Do
are
you
you saying
understand
that
what the
fathers?
patriarchy is? Do you understand what the patriarchy actually is, or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Something
Yes,
you can laugh at.
it's a society led by man, but I also believe that the
That's not really
nuclear family
that's
is
not really what it
very
is.
important. All right,
That's
sure.
not really what it actually is.
No.
Tell
I'm
me
pretty
what the
sure
patriarchy is.
if I'm correct, I might. I think I know who will have this down pat. Melanie, please.
Oh, I mean, Socrates, you can also do this if you want. 'Cause you seem to
Sure.
wanna
Yeah,
learn.
I mean, so
Either one. It's like I just know you're really knowledgeable, Melanie.
so this is like a common kind of like
misconception.
like straw man of what people talk about when they're talking about patriarchy, that it's literally just like if like statistically more men are in charge or whatever, then like that's patriarchy. It's a
I mean, tell that to all
particular
the girls in
system.
college.
Huh?
That's what they think.
Sorry?
Tell that to all the girls in
You mean
college.
the young girls who are
All the
just
girls.
getting out
I'm
of
not going to tell it to all the girls in college. I might tell it to you right now.
You mean all the
Um,
young girls who just
That's what they
recently
think.
got out of the home from their patriarchal fathers?
No, millennials.
Yeah. Anyway, so
They don't
pa-
have much.
so
Please, let's hear-
patriarchy is a
Right.
system that inculcates people with gender roles based on sex and assigns traits to those, and downstream consequences of patriarchy might be something like women can't vote, or women can't have credit cards or hold elected office, or things like that, or it might be consequences like a lot of boys feel really lonely because they're
Correct me if I'm
taught
wrong.
that
Correct me if I'm
being
wrong.
stoic and not feeling your feelings and not sharing your feelings is the way to be a man. And a lot of men commit. Can we say what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We-
What are the rules on Twitch?
They go down the Kermit sewer slide.
We'll just say despawn. Despawn.
We all know what you're saying, which
Yeah.
I think is a real
They hit the escape key.
real fucking problem. I
Mhm.
can say personally, I've had those same thoughts too, but I'm
Sorry to hear
still
that,
here
but-
talking to y'all. So
Yeah.
that's all that
I've
matters.
had them plenty. The fact
but-
that I'm here is fucking a miracle.
Yeah,
when I
man.
get a chance,
We're all
sorry,
here.
Bob, just 1 second.
We're
I'm
all
just
here
asking,
arguing.
when I get a chance, could I give a more refined definition
Please.
that might to the point a bit more?
Yeah, let
Mine-
Bob
mine
do
was
his
very
thing,
off the
and then
cuff.
then you-
Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
We've referenced this same topic at least like five different times now, and it's important to understand the context of like where it came from. You brought up a couple points saying that women should have the right to vote. Women should, because back in the day they couldn't vote. women couldn't have bank accounts. You couldn't get a bank account if your husband didn't co-sign.
And just I'm just butting in because I need to clarify before you go on. Those are downstream consequences of patriarchy. Those aren't synonymous with those things being here are the definition of patriarchy.
And I will add this before you, and I will add this real quick.
My point bringing it up, though,
I can already see where this is going.
My point bringing it up, though, my point bringing it up, though, is that they can't.
Razor, what are you gonna say?
We have changed the rules to allow that to happen. It doesn't.
That's good.
Yeah, let's let Razor clarify.
Okay.
I knew. See, I already knew that. I knew where that was going. That entire line was going. It's the weird thing of like, oh, you hate patriarchy, but patriarchy allowed you to vote and allowed you to get everything, and it's like.
That's not the context.
Let me give.
That's not what he's saying, but I'll say that.
That's what I heard.
This is where I think my perspective might help things a bit. So,
yes, please, Melanie.
The definition Socrates gave wasn't bad, but I think it misses the point of why we discuss patriarchy, which is what I'm going to call the privilege power continuum. That's where the privilege you have leads to power that you can exploit, which gives you more privilege and gives you more power. It becomes like a vicious cycle, right? In this case, we have we need to distinguish between the old patriarchy, which assumed men should have power by default, versus the new patriarchy, which is dealing with the old patriarchy, but we no longer make that assumption. We also want to deal with patriarchy from the men's perspective, which feels like entitlement that is justified, versus patriarchy from the social or cultural or collective perspective, which is how it acts as a form of dominance along Crenshaw's matrix of oppression and leads to groups that are dominated and subjugated. A key thing here is that power it can be neutral, but when power is exploited, such as when a white person gets off for the same crime that a black person would do despite having similar criminal records, then we see that there is disproportionality and inequality, and patriarchy is particularly the inequality that disaffects women and benefits men.
So when you talk about the Crenshaw matrix of oppression, you're basically referencing intersectionality
and invisibility. So intersectionality are where these things intersect along lines that everyone can see, right? Invisibility is where people disappear along lines that the system doesn't see, and this is where true systemic violence comes in. And my argument would be that
that's such a leap. That's such a leap.
Criminal justice is good at taking care of interpersonal violence, but it's really bad at taking care of systemic violence, and for that we need social justice.
What do you mean systemic violence?
Before you dive in there, I gotta run, but thank you for hanging out,
Take care.
guys.
Yeah.
Debate
Good to see you.
opponents, good job. We will definitely have to do that again. And Force Radish is still here. Peace.
So I think it would be more helpful if I define power and privilege, but for now I'll just say systemic violence is the result of people being able to do violence. Is people's ability to do violence and get away with it as a result of the power privilege continuum. So again, if you're a CEO, it's much easier to rob people than if you're a common everyday thief trying to steal from a Walmart.
I mean, I would definitely concede that point, that there's a difference of like white collar crime, which that term alone is kind of fucked up, but there's
If you steal $80, you go to jail. If you steal $10 million, you go on the front page of magazine.
If you steal $10 million, you become president.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you become Nancy Pelosi. She's fucking killing it right now.
Hell yeah.
You steal $10 million, you join a super PAC, and then you protect the $10 million you stole.
So I'll say something, Bob, that I think will interest you. So Melanie and I think are actually operating from somewhat different definitions, and that's because feminism and studies of patriarchy are like fields. They're fields of study in the same way that like capitalism and communism are fields of study, and and two people won't like these are
One is
I-
politics. There's
Here, Socrates. Let
there's
me
three different levels.
reiterate.
There's of like
Hold
of
on,
like
Bob.
social sciences. You've got anthropology, which is the study of science. You've got psychology, which is the study of the mind, and then you have social studies, which is the study of social sciences of
Real quick,
how
what was that
people.
first one you said? I apologize.
Anthropology.
Is media
study of-
studies not?
Anthropology is the study of the human body.
No,
no
anthropology
It's not.
is the study of religion.
Anthropology?
no.
Yes.
Anthropology is not the study of
Socrates,
the body,
let me,
buddy.
I do understand the lines at which you're approaching
My
this from, and let
girlfriend
me
who
actually.
studied anthropology
am I
in school would
thinking of
fucking
then?
slap you right
You're
now.
thinking of
what-
arthropodology of
anatomy.
insects.
No.
Okay.
you're-
And that
yeah.
Go back to school.
Arthropology. is
Anthropology,
definitely
right?
No.
Anthropology is the study of religion.
So Socrates.
no.
Well, no, it's not.
Definitions
Anthropology
that-
is not the study of religion. It's the
That's
study of like
theology.
it's multiple different
theology.
things.
It's a scientific
What is
it's-
theology?
It's the study of
Well-
humanity and human biology. Okay, how are you spelling it? Anthro apology?
Yeah, anthropology
Anthro-
is the
Did
study
we
of
do this in like the
essentially
text chat or
humans.
something?
I
the
apologize.
study
Like,
of
I just want to
theology.
be sure I heard that correctly.
Here,
Yeah, no,
Rip Haven
you
got
heard
Rip Haven
promise
got it
it's
get
right.
best in chat. It's the study of
promise it's right.
culture.
Okay, so Socrates,
you.
I don't think our definitions are that different. I think you're taking a bottom-up approach, and I'm top-down.
Mhm.
So if I
Yeah.
were to put things in your perspective, I would agree that the patriarchy is what people commonly agree on, oppresses them along the lines of gender, specifically ones that favors male rather than a matriarchy. Which would favor
So I actually have my definition, or I guess like they're all my definitions. I'm greedy. They're all my definitions, but the one that I think is most useful in terms of what I would communicate to Bob is that this is a system that puts people into these gender boxes. And the fact that one person or one like group of people is elevated and one is denigrated, I think is actually more complicated and not even necessarily the primary thing that's happening. The primary thing is making you into a man and making you into a woman. And that
fucking hate when you
itself
talk.
is a form of
I really
oppression.
do. I hate when you talk though, because you make my brain explode with ideas, and you just reminded me that I wanted to bring up something into the definition of patriarchy from
Please.
a man's perspective, right?
Hmm.
Which is what the APA defines as gender role strain, which is the strict adherence to norms associated
Yep.
with the male identity, such that they start to harm themselves and others trying to adhere to them, right? So not seeking help because men deal with all their own problems, and it's weak to get help. Not wanting to be associated with gay attributes because men have to be super straight to prove their manliness. Those are just some examples. I don't want to do a
Yeah.
complete
If
breakdown.
you think of any like stupid
Break the
fight that happens
patriarchy, wear cat
between
ears. Fuck yeah.
if you think of like any stupid fight that happens in a bar when people are drunk and somebody steps on somebody's shoes or spills a drink or something, and now one person might fall and like hit their head and die,
Don't
like
hit the other
the
guy,
kind of
even-
having to project this kind of like masculine whatever that's like
Square up.
you know, like it's one thing to stand up for yourself, but it's another thing to feel like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm gonna lose something so critical, which is being seen as specifically a man. And that kind of like danger that you put yourself in because of that, that's a really big harm that gets
Alright,
felt
so-
in a lot of ways.
Let me ask a question along that same line.
Mhm.
This is important. This is kind of the crux of this whole argument.
All yours. Yeah.
Do you think we should put up guardrails for women in order to field that same situation versus we put up guardrails for men? Because that, by nature, is identity politics. Do you personally think that a smart, intelligent woman is not able to hold her own in a debate format like this? And if you think we should put up kiddie rails for her to be able to do that, then you are part of the problem.
So
That's
so
not
wait.
identity
So
politics.
I would turn this.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
That's misogyny, not patriarchy. to
Mhm.
No,
assume.
no. You are representing misogyny by saying we need to put up kiddie rails. Because
I never
kitty
said
rails-
anything about kitty rails. I
No,
talked
hold
about
on,
men
hold
getting
on,
into
no, no,
fights
no,
and stuff.
hold on.
This is
Let me,
important.
hold on.
This is important.
Hold on,
This is
hold on.
important.
Hold on. I got what you're saying. I got what you're saying. Let me see if I can respond a little bit to this. Okay. You're saying you're assuming that us saying that
I'm assuming we're equal. We're equal.
I'm saying for your argument is that you're assuming
No,
what our
I'm
argument
saying
is.
The next
the
response.
argument is that we are equal.
Yeah. So okay, remember when I brought up the privilege power continuum, right? People can be fundamentally equal, as in we're all human at the end of the day. But the privilege power continuum ensures inequality along systemic lines. That's the key thing. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So who do you think is propagating those lines?
Man,
I think so.
People.
I
people
think
who
I
wanna
think
answer
the people that
directly.
I think the people that keep talking about it are propagating those lines.
I disagree.
it's
I
the
think
people
it's
who
the
don't talk about it's people who don't talk about it that let the people let
You're
the
half
people
right.
who
Let me get a response in,
Yeah,
because
let
it's the
him.
people who have the power already from the patriarchy, from these existing paradigms, who and are not changing it, are not doing anything to end it.
So
What do you mean,
I
in the way-
partly
in the
agree,
in
but
the
I
way
actually
it
partly
fits
Do you
disagree.
think there's hold
Or
on?
not.
Wait.
Do you think there's actually a way
Wait.
to end it? Because you just said end it. Do you think
Acknowledge
it's
it.
Wait, Bob. So
can't
so
Don't ignore it.
Bob. So I'll go a step further, and I will say that men and women both reinforce the patriarchy in different ways, and the fact that men have experienced a lot of dominance and domination over women doesn't mean that only men have participated in propagating patriarchy, and also doesn't mean that men aren't harmed by patriarchy.
Anti-rat fence.
So
you said
there's
guardrail, 'cause you. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
well, so there's a lot of there's like a very common, and it's common everywhere, misconception of what like feminism, patriarchy, and it's like if you make it so reductive that you're literally just talking about like, oh, men are up here, women are down here. We need to flip it or something. We need to get women on top. It's like it's not about just like who's on top, who's on bottom. That's a consequence of this systematization, but it's the putting the people into these categories in the first place, building these categories as like a real meaningful thing that is what's hurting everybody in this situation. So it's not just about like putting women up or putting men down, or so, that's too reductive to be useful as an understanding.
I agree with that mindset. I'm saying, to me, that's what identity politics has created.
So, Bob,
I'm
when
saying
you say guardrails, do you mean checks and balances, like holding both groups accountable? Because I agree.
No. I think
No,
checks
he's
and
talking about
balances
like
are
putting.
good.
He's talking about playing with kid gloves with women while keeping the full force on men. That's what
Great,
he's
okay,
saying.
good
He
point,
says
good point.
kitty rails.
Okay,
Kind of,
no,
yeah.
that makes more sense.
That's a simplified point of it, but yeah, kind of.
But no,
So
we
the-
don't
so-
assume that actually. What
Yeah.
we would say is that you can't tell a woman by default that if she wants to debate that she ought not to. We're not going to reinforce misogynistic paradigms, but we're
I
also
never
not
said
going to
that.
put up guardrails that would do that either.
I never said that. I'm saying the whole concept of identity politics, which I'm trying to circle back to like the crux of the whole debate at the top of the night. The whole point of identity politics is to do that.
It's not.
So here, let me pick like a specific. Wait. Let me pick a concrete specific situation. So
hold on.
What,
Before you go, I just real quickly, because I do want to at least acknowledge acknowledge chats and stuff. Or Paven did ask the question. I feel like patriarchy was already defined pretty well with by Socrates and Melanie. Do you want like a second? Do you want that to be redone, or Rip Haven,
Are you asking me?
No, Rip Haven in chat. He asked like how are we all defining patriarchy?
yo, I say if he wants his definitions respected, come into the call.
Yeah. Well, so
can't be getting big heads
we'll
with these
on for a minute.
chatters.
We've already had this.
I mean,
and I don't wanna, like, go all the way back.
I
He's
want
saying,
you all
but how does
to
he says
know-
how does treating women different have anything to do with patriarchy? It's the misogynistic viewpoint and the force that they put upon women to be in certain things. That whole women have to be barefoot pregnant and barefoot pregnant in the kitchen or whatever. That's a patriarchal stereotype that they push on women, and the way that society has treated little girls when they get raised, the patriarchal way that we have raised girls into women is reinforcing that stereotype of they need to be the bearers of our children, they need to be the homesteaders, the raisers of our children, they have to be these cute nurturing things. A key example of that is the fact that is kids toys. What's the like when you hear girls toy, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Barbie.
Exactly, a doll. And a lot of the time, especially for very young ones, they get those squishy, doesn't hurt when they hit or anything kind of thing. Those squishy little baby dolls.
Dude,
They're
my
from the
sister used to-
tiny child. Yeah.
My sister used to beat the hell out of me with her Barbie dolls. She's
There's a chance she's not going to be going
Serious
kids in the
question.
future. Who knows?
Serious question. I have to interrupt to ask this: were Furbies a girl's toy or a boy's toy?
Ooh.
I don't know.
They were
Furbies
They were a
I think
non-binary
were-
That's why I
toy for
love
sure.
them.
Yeah,
Furbies, 100%.
Furbies
Yeah.
were a psychopathic toy made by the CIA. It's
They
like
were made. They
I'm,
were made.
I'm
They were made
convinced
to
they were
scare you
watching
in your
us the
sleep.
whole time. Fucking Furbies were crazy. And guys, I understand. I'm pushing back on you all a lot.
No, this is
but
good.
I
I feel like this is good.
No,
I hope you know, like I don't. All this is good faith. I don't have any ill will towards any of you all. I do think there's a separation of these philosophies that are kind of is like the crux of like where our society's breaking down. Of like
That's why we do
we
these. We want to
yeah.
have the conversations. We want to talk.
It's
with
really
people
important.
Like you. We want to talk with other.
It's really
with other
important.
People.
And
Yeah.
like
And
I was, I
everybody
mean,
themselves
So,
on that.
Bob, what I was
Yeah.
going to say is that if you're talking about the people that perpetuate the system, it's two people, and it's not derived from like men or women or Marxist or capitalist
Wait,
or
it's
right
not?
or left. The two people that perpetuate the system, the first group are those that are complacent, and the second group are those that want tradition for tradition's sake. And those are the only two groups.
That's
I
a
would- I
lens.
mean-
I agree with that lens. I don't think it's the only lens. Go ahead.
I would kind
Yeah,
of push
it's a
back
good
on
lens, though.
that. I would kind of push back on that is that we've been sold this bill of goods that we have this like multi-party system, but when you really break stuff down, and this is, I mean, I'm in Letch's channel all the time. Like if we can have these chats again, but I think that the problem is that it's not a multi-party system. It's not an
That's a
identity
problem.
politics system.
It's a big problem.
It's a one-party system, and they call it the uniparty, and they make us argue, and like, and I'm not saying I'm arguing with you, but like we have these debates, but at the end of the day, there's only one group that wins.
So,
And
Bob, I got a question for you. Then. With what you just stated about the quote unquote uniparty system or the multi-party system being the uniparty system, that system is in place because people are complacent and people wanted tradition for tradition's sake.
yeah, I would so
That's exactly
I
what I
mean,
just said.
I would say
Bob,
yeah. I mean,
to go to the
I would say
guardrail thing.
I think where I might disagree with you all is that I don't think the answer to that system is an identity politics system. I think the
May I
answer to
ask-
that system is a human party system of like we're all.
May I ask you real quickly? May I ask you this real quick? Because
Yeah.
I'm halfway agreeing with that with what you were just starting to say of like we're all humans. We should all like care for each other and
That's
everything. I fully
humanism.
agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead,
That
finish.
and yes, that is basically feminism. Yes.
So humanism.
Oh, that's humanism. I say, I misheard. That is also humanism. Yes. I have to ask: are you against acknowledging the harm that has been done to
No,
the
no, dude.
groups?
I'll list out. I mean, we talked about redlining. We've got the.
And you agree that's still affecting Black people today, right? Not like
Yeah,
it's happening,
to an
but like
extent,
the
no,
effects of
it's no,
it still
it's
going.
yeah, no, it's
Let me get
history
into
is real. Like I'm not trying
Mhm.
to like say history didn't matter. Like
I don't want to
you've
back
got
to the
So-
corner to make you.
there's
make
the
you feel comfortable
Holocaust.
with that.
Hold on,
there's
hold on,
women's
hold on real quick.
suffrage.
Hold on real quick. Let Melanie get a quick thing out real fast. Sorry, Bob.
It's all happened. Yeah, I'm not saying it didn't happen.
So Bob, would you agree? Like, just on two statements I'll make here, and tell me if you agree. A, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and B, we should hold those with more power more accountable for their misdeeds.
Yeah, no, I agree with both those.
Okay, so
Absolutely, and-
that's why I brought up the privilege power continuum, because you do ultimately agree with the feminists who are trying to call out the
I don't.
patriarchy.
So
If just let me
I'll.
finish. If you
hold on, Bob.
agree, if you
Hold on, finish.
agree that we ought to hold people with too much power accountable for that, and that's what feminists want to do. They're just pointing out that some of this power, not all of it, but some of it occurs along the lines that favors men and disfavors women.
So I will say something
question.
kind of similar
No,
from a
hold
totally
on.
different
Hold on,
framework.
hold on,
But-
Socrates. Hold your question for a second. Go ahead, Bob.
It's not quite okay.
I'll say I will proudly call myself a second wave feminist. I firmly believe in second wave feminism.
I have to
I
hop
hate the
off
wave.
here.
I hate the
We'll talk to you
wave.
Hold on.
later.
I'll
Take care.
Hold on.
fully say this. I
Like-
hate the wave thing. I apologize, but
Yeah, but like if we're adding definitions to it, then second wave feminism was when women got the right to vote and got the right to have bank accounts and got the right to have jobs and all that stuff is fucking awesome.
It
Third
turns out
wave
the
suffragettes.
feminism.
It turns out the oppression of women didn't end there, Bob. It
Yeah.
turns out that there were more systemic forms. that
True.
still favored
I
men
mean,
over-
I would say
that's
Like
why
this
rape
third
culture.
wave feminist,
this
and that's why third
this
wave feminists brought
oh,
intersectionality.
hold on,
into
hold on. It gets complicated because
Hold on.
I would say a third wave feminism brought on the hatred of man.
now
Which is
hold
where-
on. Now right there.
Yeah.
I gotta
Hold on,
get you.
stop.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me
I
finish my
apologize.
statement.
Go ahead. I
Let me finish
apologize.
my statement.
We all want to get on
I
that one.
apologize. Go ahead.
I would
Because-
also say, and this is something that I don't know any of you guys, but this is something that I would say has been brought on by third wave feminism, which I understand the wave systems is kind of hard to follow, but
The lines,
porn.
that I
Hold on.
brought up.
porn.
Porn.
But okay, before we
Porn.
get distracted,
Third
lines
wave
that I brought-
feminists are the main
don't-
producers of porn. It's true.
but
Yeah.
the thing I
Porn-
brought
No,
up-
if I
Porn
may real
has
quick.
not
about
only
power.
crushed women, but it's crushed men. The reason why
No, if I
young
may real
men
fast.
are so lonely right now is because of porn. And
Okay,
the
if
reason
I may
why-
real quickly.
go ahead.
If I may.
How did we get here?
So this I know the waves thing I fucking hate majority of the time. I just say I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist. I don't give a
Right.
fuck
Yeah,
what
but-
wave there is. I
But
just
that's
am.
not the same
Okay,
thing.
hold on.
I can't believe
I
you
know,
got in
hold
for
on.
that. I actually want to point out that he does agree with third wave feminism, because when I pointed
Yeah.
out that you think that people with power need to be held more accountable, that's third wave, not second wave. They particularly
me?
point out that the patriarchy
Yeah.
exists to serve men. That's third
I
wave.
don't
So
believe that.
this
I
now
don't
hold on.
believe
Now
that.
hold on. Hold on. That thing you said about third wave feminism about hating men thing. No. That is what Melanie
do.
just stated there. Hold on. That's what it feels like because the patriarchy who's currently in charge has just propagandized you into believing that's what we're saying. But the actual thing
I mean,
that's
everything's a
happening,
pendulum.
the actual thing that is happening when it comes to this idea of third wave feminism is the thing that Melanie just said, where we're trying to deal with the powerful men who need to be held accountable. And
I got
this idea of men hating. Do you understand what rape culture is?
All right, come on, bro.
No, I'm being very serious. I'm being serious. I want to be sure
Come
we're
on.
on the same page here. Do you
I
agree that rape culture is a thing, or do you what?
I feel like I have to get ahead of this. I have an older sister. My mom actually. I mean, not to get too personal.
You
My
don't have
mom
to get too
died like
personal.
Both sides
last
are at risk
week.
of virtue signaling
So
here.
I don't
I know.
My condolences,
hold
brother man.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't hold anything against women specifically, but I will say I pay attention to a lot of social media, and there is a problem right now, especially with the. I'm 33 right now. I'm not some like kid straight out of high school trying to figure shit out. Like I've been on social media
You're
for
3 years older than me.
over a decade right now, And there is a problem, and I don't know how to fix that problem, but there is a problem. Like we have to all agree there is a problem in the disconnect between men and women, and it's not
Sure.
about the patriarchy,
Yes,
and it's
Strain.
not about
It's
feminism.
about the patriarchy.
Remember when I brought up gender role strain? That's one of the ingredients you want to think about if you're trying to think about these problems. The next part is the divide in power and privilege that men have that women don't have.
Mhm.
Those are your
So-
ingredients to understand this.
Like,
issue.
have you ever like how often? Like,
Wait, guys,
how often?
I
do
feel
men
like-
feel emasculated? How often? Good.
Yeah, I feel like what you guys are describing is not helping Bob
It's
in
not
this
fair to what I'm saying.
moment because
It's not
it's
fair to what I'm saying.
because the critical missing pieces are not about this power imbalance and who's up and who's down. It's about the
It's not-
forcing these.
Can I get to point out the one- I wanted to point one thing out further before you kind of reframe things. I
Mhm.
do want to point out that the fact that I explained what third wave feminists are about without using the term men are bad or hating
Mhm.
men shows that
Yeah.
there are feminists out there who understand these issues without needing to hate men, Bob. So I
Yeah,
think it's unfair
like-
to feminists to describe them all that way.
But like you also said that you don't agree with the wave system of feminism, which that objectively,
Razor said
if
that.
you look at
on that because
if you
that,
look at
that-
That was
politics,
me.
if you look at politics over time, there is different waves to this movement. The movement has happened in waves. That's how movements happen. They go up,
I'm not
down,
halfway
round,
dis-
and
I'm
round.
not like fully
Not responding
disagreeing
to
with
me.
that. I just hate using
That's
it.
just
I just hate
factual.
using it. I know.
That's just
I'm not saying
factual.
it's not. I know. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's not. I'm just saying I personally hate using the system. I agree it
Well-
happens. I just don't use it. I just say I'm a feminist.
That's
I
fine.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but like there
that's
is
me.
a difference.
Mel said different.
Bob,
Mel
can
said
I-
different thing.
Can I give you a title of a book that I think you would really, really, really enjoy and get a lot out of that I really enjoyed?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
It's called The Will to Change by Bell Hooks, and it specifically talks about the ways that that women feminists have failed to include men as a relevant victim party within the harms that patriarchy does. And
Can I give you a title of a book?
Absolutely.
Quick? It's called Dragon Ball Z. I'm just joking.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
just joking. I was just
I like the original Dragon Ball a little bit more, but
Bro, I
Just
got
joking.
like 10 volumes right now.
Dragon Ball Z is
just
a great
just
example
joking,
of
y'all.
gender role
Hey,
strain.
if you can drop that book you just said in chat, I'll screenshot it and I will try to
in the Discord
check it
chat,
out. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
this here on the thing won't be able to. Are you in Horseradish's server?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
How is he
This is
not?
Oh, I
also
see.
my.
Okay.
yeah.
Literally in the room with us, Razor.
I'm here right now.
I know.
So, yeah, I think
I
have to,
apologize.
but,
I forgot.
Wait, where should I
Y'all
put it?
just
There's
don't
like a
like
million.
forgot.
Dragon Ball Z.
It's
Got
past midnight. I'm tired.
Googling Dragon Ball Z.
No, I actually love Dragon Ball Z.
I
it's a
fucking
little
love Dragon
stale.
Ball Z.
It's a little stale for me over time.
I was just making a joke. I think
Yeah,
if
you're good,
anything,
you're
the
good.
most,
I know,
the
but
most.
let me riff off of it. God damn it!
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna DM it to you.
Like, Dragon
'cause I
Ball
can't
Z
figure it.
is actually a great example of kind of like neutral gender role strain where it's only baked in as like a political assumption, but it doesn't necessarily feature gender role strain as we understand it today. But these are clearly men who are afraid of not being strong in case they have to fight other men, right? And so mentally they're always on edge. They're always ready to fight, and they're super hetero, even though that never really comes up. And I think a good kind of
Goku,
counter narrative that's also in manga, if you like manga or anime, is Rurouni Kenshin. The main
Ooh.
character,
Classic.
Hitokiri Badosai, is kind of like a peaceful warrior. He refuses to actually hurt people. That's why he uses what's known as a Sakabado, which is a reverse blade.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
you know,
Sure.
I think there's also a book if you want to look it up. It's called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, and that's another good representation of healthy gender roles for men. Which is if feminists failed on anything, it's not providing alternatives for men. For example, feminists should have. I think one of the things that we would call woke is actually very healthy for men, which is men being able to express healthy sexuality with other men without it being gay and immediately emasculating them. Would you agree?
I mean, I would say there is nothing wrong with if you want to be gay with your bros, that's completely fine. I would
I
say.
never asked what you thought, but here, let me reframe this to see if we
I
can
want to
get a
say
better.
something
Hold
before
on.
we get too
Do
far
it.
away from Dragon
Do
Ball.
you
But
agree?
like,
Do you agree that it's probably harmful? Do you think it's probably harmful when men say, say like a man says to another man, "You look nice," and then all his friends are like, "Yo, bro, that's
No,
gay."
I
You can't say that to another man.
no,
Do you think it could be harmful?
I text my friends all the time and just like tell them like, hey, I was thinking about you, like,
That's
what's
awesome.
up? Like,
That's not what I
hit
asked.
me
I
back.
asked,
Like,
do you think it
no,
could be
but like,
harmful? Do
I get
you
what you're
think it could be
saying. I get
harmful
what
if
you're saying.
men do that to other men?
No, it's not harmful. That's
Do you think it
that's
should
what I'm
be?
saying. It's not.
So
But
let me argue for why it is, though. Because
Wait,
the
wait,
reason
wait.
why it
I
is,
think you guys got it twisted. He was saying
Yeah.
say nice things to your homies.
Yeah, no.
And nothing bad
Listen to my
happens, but
question,
like
Bob,
yeah.
listen to my question. Listen to the actual words I'm saying. Do you think it is harmful when a man says to another man, "I think you look nice," and his friends say, "Yo, bro, that's super gay. You shouldn't say that to another man." Do you think what those friends said is harmful?
see, I think he has bad friends.
Why?
I would agree, yes. But why?
Why? Because I would argue it's gender role strain, but let's see if you have a similar perspective.
Well, I mean, it's again, I'll pull back to it's not about a gender thing. It's
If I
about
may,
humans.
if I may ask,
if I have
may ask
friends,
you, Bob, if I may ask you, Bob, you currently see me. You currently see me, right?
yeah.
You
I
see
can
the
cam up.
ears.
Where we at? You got my camera up? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you see me. You see my ears. I have them on as pink because I like the color pink. I
don't care if
non-binary.
you like
I identify as non-binary, and but I am more masculine than anything.
Can you see my shorts right now? I'm wearing fucking pink shorts right now.
Exactly. That's
I don't give a
wonderful.
fuck.
Pink
I
yeah,
don't
no,
give a
see,
fuck.
Just like George
yeah,
Washington.
you're good
exactly
on
what
that.
I was
Now,
gonna get
understand.
at.
Hold on.
It's not
Yeah,
about
now
you,
give us
it's
now.
in general.
Yeah, no, give it a second.
got-
Yeah, like not just
I
you
got pink
personally.
shorts
We're
on.
talking the
It doesn't
society.
matter.
We're talking about the society of men. We're talking about men
Yeah.
as a whole. There's
You know what
a
you're talking
whole
about right
thing.
now? You know what you're talking about right
hold
now?
on.
You're
give
talking
me-
about
Hold on.
I'll stop.
What we're talking about with the patriarchy part. We're talking about with the patriarchy thing.
No, you're talking
The
about identity politics.
No. Right now, I'm talking about patriarchy. What
Why does
causes
the
harm to
color of
men.
your Why does the color
I'm
of
about to
your
tell you.
ears
I'm about to tell
matter?
you. I'm about to tell you. The cat ears that I wear with the pink because I like the color pink. People I've seen people when I'm on stream point out the ears and say, "What a insert F slur." Insert terrible thing. Insert this guy's obviously bad. Obviously a libtard nut because he's wearing the cat ears. They immediately try to emasculate me because they see the cat ears and everything. I'm expressing myself as what I see as masculine, and they say
Yeah, but
no,
like,
yes, not masculine. Do you agree that that's harmful for those men to be doing that?
I wouldn't say harmful. Are you trying to present masculine, or are you trying to present
I'm
femme?
presenting as me.
That's fair. That's exactly the point. Why does it matter?
And the
Why
fact,
does identity...
that's the problem.
No,
that's
stop,
me
stop.
personally.
Because
That's me
important.
personally. We're talking about men
So
in general.
So no, because you just circled your own point without knowing it. Well, why does identity politics matter? If you know what you believe in your own head, you're wearing your own cat ears for your own reason. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what other people think. Why does the identity politics of it matter?
Now they're blue.
Why?
Bob, does
What do you-
someone
What do you care?
sexual preference, is that different than their gender? Like if they identify as a male or female? Like who you're attracted to versus how you identify, are those different things?
Are you talking about like trans things? Or like
no, I'm talking about conflating gayness.
Just in general.
I'm talking about conflating
No,
gayness
I don't.
with men
I don't
who
give a
aren't
fuck if you're
actually
gay.
masculine.
I don't care
Yeah,
about
that's
But
you.
some
And I
people
like
do,
that.
right?
That's cool. You're awesome for that.
Yeah,
I
no, but
no,
I'm asking in
yeah,
general. I'm
but
asking
so
in general. I'm
all right,
asking in
so
general. Where does it come from
so
that men
so
tend to
say
wait?
Hold on.
for instance,
Bob,
say
Bob, let me ask
for
the question.
instance,
Hold on, Bob. Let Millie get the full question out, and then you can ask. Then you can do your thing.
Where does it
Millie.
come from that men conflate straightness with being masculine?
Mm.
my answer is why does it matter? Like you're
Again, I don't have
applying
an answer.
you're
It's
hold on, no,
gender based.
hold on.
Hold on.
You're
Let me get the full thing
applying
out before he goes.
you're applying so much effort into what someone else thinks of you that doesn't even fucking matter. Fuck them. Fuck them. Why?
That only works for me. That doesn't explain why men in general have that attitude. Now, I can explain why.
You,
It's gender role strength.
you, no, but that's
I'm trying to let
important.
you finish, so
Well,
please
that's
let me
important.
finish.
That's important though.
Go
What
ahead.
you just said is you can't vouch for what everyone else thinks. That's a fact. That's an objective fact.
Well,
Which
You
is why we're
can't.
trying to talk
yeah.
about men in
Here,
general.
Bob, let me answer you really like directly and head on. So like I'm in a super
But why
liberal
do you think it
area.
would
So
change?
wait,
Why do you think it
uh,
would change?
wait.
Hold on.
Here, wait. I'm really super directly answering your question, right? So I live in like a super liberal area. I'm not that worried walking around looking however I look. I'm not that worried about like being judged or yelled at, whatever. If I were in a super conservative area and dressing more like femme, like I'd be worried about getting straight up murdered. So it's like that's an example of why all that shit like kind of matters, right? Like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but that also is you're continuing, and I'm not gonna. I know when I say this, you're all gonna fucking be pissed and immediately when I say something, but you have to hear me
We must.
objectively. That's not a reason to change what you do. If
Wait. I don't want to
Okay,
get
hold on,
murdered,
hold
so
on,
I want to
pause.
change other people
Yeah, pause
murdering
real
me.
quick.
Does that make sense? I want them to not murder me, right? You get that, right?
That's fair. No,
You don't
yeah,
want to be murdered.
totally.
I don't. So I want to change them wanting to murder me,
I don't
right?
want
I'm not.
anybody to
I'm
murder
living
you.
my life, okay?
That's a fact.
They're not affecting me,
Fact.
but I don't want them to murder me, right? So I want to change them. I'm not talking about changing me or how I react to them. I'm talking about their thing. I want to change their thing.
Can I simplify this?
I don't know if we can simplify it more than that.
This is gonna sound harsh, and I don't mean it to be mean.
I already
You
know what you're
will
going to say. You don't
literally-
have to say it, but yeah.
You will literally never be able to change what someone else thinks of you.
Right. So what you're talking
Literally
about is
never.
just like
Literally
nihilism or whatever,
Never.
right?
You'd
You're
think
just
never.
saying don't
No, no, no.
try. But why would you say do you get out of bed sometimes and do stuff?
Do you know the?
Fake it till
No,
you
do you
make
know the
it.
Yeah, hold on. Do you know the parable? Do you know that one? Not parable. Do you know that one story of the kid who throws the starfish into the sea? Do you know that one or no?
I don't know if I know. That sounds sick. Okay, tell me about
No,
that.
I don't know what you. Yeah.
I love starfish.
Okay, so a young boy. Okay, so young boy is walking down. So young boy is walking through the city along the beach, and he looks on the beach and he sees all these starfish who are currently on the beach haven't been fully washed up. If they don't get back in the water, they will die. So he's like, I want to save the starfish. So he runs out. He starts grabbing starfish and chucking them in. Grabs another starfish, chucks it in. Grabs another starfish, chucks it in. Old man in the back goes, "Why are you doing that? You can't save them all. They're just gonna die." And then he picks up another one, looks at the old man, tosses it in. I saved that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're saying when that's what I believe Socrates is saying when we're talking about.
That's a
we
false
need to
equivalency.
talk people.
That's a false
not.
equivalency.
You go
Now he
person
cares
to
about the
person.
distinction between individual and
So
Let me say it
wait,
again.
Bob,
say it
is it
again.
your
Let me say it
contention that
again.
nothing has ever changed? Nothing. So you were saying you believe in history, right? Slavery used to exist, and now it
Dude.
doesn't exist.
No,
That was
no.
that was a big fucking institution. That was a big ass institution. That's gone, right?
History is continuing to happen. History
Yes.
will never stop.
Yes.
It's
That's
always
what history
affected
is.
by the past.
And the people who work to change things in the present are the only way that things change, right?
True. And
Like we are we are the future of what happened in the past. People work
Yeah.
to create us.
you will have to hear me on this. And this, I
I refuse. Legal.
Please, Bob, go ahead. Bob.
automatic refuse. All right. You have to hear me. There's gonna be some people where you will be able to change their mind.
Uh-huh.
That's a fact.
Yes.
But there's also factually gonna be some people where you cannot change their mind. You will never change them. And
That's
those
true.
people will die sad and alone and wrong.
I want
You know
them to
what?
go to jail when
So
they
I
kill
go back,
us.
I go back to my I go back to the analogy I did. I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna throw him into the bucket of knowing how to think logically, and I have saved that one from being sad, alone, and out of society.
That's fine.
Wait,
That's fine.
wait, Bob.
Maybe you
Bob,
save that one. Maybe you save this one. But
Bob, I would.
either way, you didn't save any. You didn't save everyone. And
Okay, Bob.
I feel
I would
like-
love to know. I would love to know why you think that isn't something that we think about. That it's hard to change the world. Might not be possible. We're not going to change it. What did you think that we like didn't know that? Right? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I think I get what you're asking. I think you're
I'm
putting
able to
too much.
clarify it better.
I think
I'm
you're
gonna clarify it
putting.
better. Why do you think
Go
we
ahead.
think we can get a perfect? Why do you believe that we are fighting for a perfect utopia, as if we think it will happen in a day?
Do you think a utopia will happen in 100 years?
I don't know.
I think a utopia is an idea.
It might never.
Wait,
that you
I
aim
wanna
for.
hear
That's the
my
point.
phrasing answered. I like my phrasing. I wanna hear that answer.
Okay, you go for your phrasing again, and then yeah.
Yeah. Why did you say that to us? Why did we need it? Why do you think that we hadn't heard that? Why do you think that you're the first person to tell us, don't fight for
I don't-
anything, nothing's good gonna happen?
No. You keep conflating what I'm trying to say. I'm
Okay.
not saying don't fight for anything.
You're just
I'm
saying
saying
it's
it-
pointless.
No, you're gonna
That's what we're
change
hearing.
hearts and minds. That's what you're choosing to hear. It's
Wait.
not.
Wait,
Would it
say
help if I pointed out that like you seem to be responding a lot to
Have a
idealism?
good one, Haven.
And idealism, like I'm both an idealist and a realist. I
Mhm.
have my idealisms. I have things that I'd like to see happen because I think they ought to. But I'm also a realist who recognizes that where we currently are is very different than where I want us to be. And so realizing that in totality is probably unlikely. So I'm not an absolutist, right?
We have no concept of totality.
Yeah,
We.
I'm gonna
the-
link
the
you.
I
last-
didn't mean in true totality. I meant in totality of what I know to be true.
What do you know
I-
to be totality? What do you go back in time at?
Well, I'm a system.
1,000 years,
right? So I
2,000 years, 3,000 years? What's your version of totality?
Hold on.
So I tend to think in terms of systems, right? Which are the things that humans have created to help us get along with each other. Essentially, if you want to look
Alright.
at it in the broadest sense.
Hold on, Bob.
To that question, do you think all the systems that we've created are going to be the final systems? Or do you think we're going to make a new system in
gonna
100
continue
years?
to make
that's-
Wheel
better
keeps
and better
turning.
systems.
Finish, Bob. This
Yes,
is what I need to
exactly.
because I was going to point out
Exactly.
I'm a top-down thinker, right? I start at the top and then I work my way down to the individual and what systems mean to the
All right.
individual.
So then from that, think back.
Yeah,
What's
top-down thinker, bottom-up doer. That's basically
What's-
what we're doing.
what's the first system that you wish that you were a part of?
First, okay, I don't
Sorry.
think this is
My
going-
TV's going crazy right now. It
Let-
keeps changing my face and shit.
I'm not sure that we understand
in the
what you
best
mean by
ways
that question.
possible. I don't know how to answer that, and rather than unpacking it, because I think it might be a bit of a rabbit hole or a can of worms.
No. I can
But-
simplify it. So
Please, I'm trying to be good faith. So let me ask you a question, and this will put things into a systems perspective, right? So let's say you're part of a group of people, and the relevant history of your group of people to who you are today is that you were enslaved, right? And so the slavery now is gone, and it whenever it does happen, it's criminally punished because racism is essentially outlawed. But the criminal justice system, if you understand how it works, can really only punish things that are explicit forms of something. It has a really hard time punishing implicit forms of something. But the system, which doesn't
all
have
system.
to change itself along those lines, it can keep benefiting from those implicit lines. For example, Republicans benefit from redlining, right? So these systems of oppression.
Oh,
can
stop. Can we stop bringing up redlining? We all agree that
We bring
redlining
it
is a
up because
terrible
it's
thing.
no. We bring it up because
relevant.
it's
It's
relevant.
just a relevant
The
example.
history
You don't
of
have to-
redlining is
It
still
happened
affecting
50
today.
It
You don't
happened
have to
70
respond
years
to it,
ago.
Bob. You can just
And
drop
my
it.
grandmother is still alive.
Bob, respond to my overall point though. Does my description, can you put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's systemically oppressed now and needs a solution more than criminal justice, perhaps something like social justice, when people fight for you and your
Yeah.
community fights for you instead?
I can give you an answer of someone that is actually oppressed right now, actually in slavery, which black people are not. There's a woman right now.
Is this going to be
somewhere?
What are you saying?
Justice would already
He's gonna
prosecute?
bring up. He's gonna bring up the sex trafficking.
You know
Yeah,
that there's
trafficking thing
lots
again
of
right
that the
black people
criminal
in slavery in
justice
America
system
right now,
will
right?
prosecute
You're aware
if
of that,
it
right?
knew about it.
now.
All right, so when I want to bring up a point, it just gets thrown out like a
It's
cop out.
more
Then
that
you
yours
all
is a
get to rant.
Wait, but
all
you
get
just
to
baked a
rant
bunch of
about
stuff in your
that.
preamble that
Seems disanalogous because I was trying to explain
Because
to you
everything
how
I said is not
systemic
wrong.
oppression works.
It's all true.
It's
all true.
Bob, it seems
You
disanalogous.
you just can't.
Hold on, Bob. Give us a second because things are
Think about it.
like you
Think about it. Think about it.
Think
yeah,
about
yeah.
what?
Think
It's
about it. Go
think about
ahead.
what?
And I can explain why.
You said give you a second, so I'm going to give you a
Yeah,
second.
let
Fucking think of.
let
fucking
Melly
think
let
about
Melody
your
do her
argument.
thing. Let Melly do her thing, and then we'll.
Would you like to hear why explaining somebody who might be in a sex trafficking
You
situation?
can literally
Disanalogous.
ask me anything. Ask me anything.
I just did.
Open book. Ask me anything, and
Okay.
I will tell you why.
Please work with
Bob,
us.
are you
Right.
receptive to hearing why the example of somebody who might be in a sex trafficking situation would be disanalogous to my explanation of systemic violence?
Can I ask you? Sorry, that whole thing was pixelated. I could not hear you.
Oh, I roboted? Is that just me?
A
Or
little bit. It
I-
might have been him actually.
not
I
for
didn't
me.
hear you do
Yeah.
anything. It might have been hit on his side on that one.
okay, Bob, Bob.
Hold on. Let me lock in.
Is it robotic
connection
for
wise.
everyone here?
sounds fine for me.
Check.
I heard
Check,
everything's
check.
fine.
Mic check 1 2 3. How you doing?
I'm
Yeah, you doing well.
hardwired.
Okay. I think we're good.
Okay. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
Melanie.
Bob, are you receptive to hearing why why an example of somebody who might be in a sex trafficking situation would be disanalogous to my example of somebody who would be under systemic violence?
I am open to hearing that. I also want to hear your definition of what systemic violence is.
So it's disanalogous because I particularly provide an example where the violence persists past it being criminally persecuted as an explicit form of violence. So systemic violence is an implicit form of violence, aka you don't need a law that says we are going to target black people. You just need a system that already does that by default by the way it was formed and has no laws preventing it.
Okay, so you're saying one happens objectively and one happens subjectively.
No, explicit and implicit can both be objective phenomena.
Okay, so
Objectively, black people are arrested more often than their white counterparts for the exact same issues.
Wait, I need to cut in here because these are not also all
It's not
just
fair argument.
things that wait, Bob. These are also not just things that like kind of happen to happen or happen to carry forward from slavery and Jim Crow and Tulsa and Redline. These are also not just things that like are also just coincidentally happening or happening because other things happened. So let me read the start of this.
The example,
So
sorry, just to be clear, I didn't imply that. So it seems like you're pushing back on something
okay.
that I
Well,
didn't
just to
cover when I
clarify,
pointed out That's why I point out that redlining is an example of something that still exists to this day as a symptom of slavery and
But-
discrimination in
So
the
Jim
past.
Crow.
But wait. So I
First of all-
am
first of
pushing
all,
back. I am
Exists,
wait.
and it exists.
Redlining-
And it exists.
Hold on.
As it benefits.
Redlining did not exist from slavery. Redlining
No,
exists
we're
No,
not
from-
that's-
saying
that's
that.
not what
Hold
we're
on,
saying.
We're not saying that. Hold on.
He just
we're not
said that.
saying that.
No.
She
No,
just said
she
that.
no,
I'm-
she's not.
I'm
no, no,
sorry.
she's not saying
I
that
don't know your
exact way.
pronouns, but
Sure, it's fine.
Sure.
No, that's not what she was saying. But Melanie, I am pushing back against what you just said, because slavery is a distinct like practice and legal thing. Redlining was a distinct
Misspoke.
practice, and one of them
You-
comes from the other.
you both-
But
you
wait.
both missed it,
But there's a totally other different thing, which is exactly. I'm just gonna read the like 2 sentences of this quote again. Y'all don't quote me on this. You start out in 1954 by saying N-word, N-word,
Yeah.
N-word. By 1968, you can't say N-word. That hurts you. It backfires. See stuff like forced busing, states' rights, all that stuff. You're getting so abstract now that you're talking about cutting taxes. All these things that you're talking about are totally economic things, and a byproduct of them is that blacks get hurt worse than whites. So a lot of the things that are difficult to tie back to race were not necessarily like not intended or not developed to be particularly affecting people based on race. They were specifically developed to affect people based on race and be harder to detect and be more
Socrates-
abstract.
Socrates, that's too many words for just bring up dog whistles as a form of implicit violence.
Sure.
no,
It
but
goes a little deeper than that because you have.
but do you know how
racial
redlining
stereotypes.
actually worked? Yeah,
Hold on.
it
Hold on.
Well,
Yeah,
I was gonna
Leafy's
say,
been
you
really.
have- So you have a racial stereotype that's also brought about with the advent of redlining that
Mhm.
continues the same practices that happened at that point. So where they weren't giving loans to black people and where they were cordoning off certain areas, then you already got them in those areas. And the stereotype that black people are bad with money is already going to discount them from being able to get loans. So this is a perpetuated issue that's going to continue to happen until these things are addressed.
Leaf, to distill that, are you saying that the stereotype is like a form of implicit violence?
Mm. Mhm.
Yes,
Yes.
in a way.
There goes the neighborhood, because property values did
who-
decrease. The stereotype even of that direct economic result lives on even without
here-
that practice.
Oh yeah, that phrase.
There goes the neighborhood.
That Socrates just said.
I tried to
Yeah,
bring up
there-
blockbusting when I talked to Circa and
There
he
goes
wasn't
the
addressing it.
neighborhood.
Because like
By
just
the way-
understanding that just mentioning that black people are going to move into your neighborhood
Mm.
could just ruin everything.
There's
So-
this
That
like
was a good
wonderful like
pushback,
little
Like, that is
there's like a
that is
dog.
an example.
Sorry,
Just wanted to thank you for that pushback because I really should
Yeah,
have.
who
no,
here
there-
knows about?
because there's like this wonderful documentary that was done, like newscast I should say, that was done, where a white woman who lives in a neighborhood that
Oh.
has a lot of black people in it now. That
Oh, okay.
she was like she had a real estate person who
Mhm.
the block busting thing that he was saying. Real estate person came to her and said, a lot of these Negro coming around here. Are you sure you don't want to be here? In order to try and scare her away to where she would sell her home to him for cheap, so
Hmm.
that he could then sell it on cheap, thus giving himself more money by selling it to another black person, making it a fully black area. And she said, "No, I love my sisters.
I
They're
gotta
awesome."
turn
Like
my-
she would.
I have
So
no
it
light.
was,
I'm gonna turn my fucking
my-
TV light
I-
on.
So yeah, like she and the news report was extremely funny because when she quoted the man, she very much said he said the hard R, but she was quoting the guy. When she said something along the lines of, "I'm sorry," and I'm sorry. I think her name was Luann, but this is not my words. I don't speak like this. Like she apologized for blackface before she did it. It was funny. And it's just showing like, yes, this racial discrimination that has been happening for years, even when redlining was done, continues, and the stereotypes that cause redlining to continue, even though it's not on the books anymore.
So
So
who here knows about Black Tulsa?
The one
Yeah.
thing that got bombed, or am I misremembering that
the
one?
Tulsa Race
I remember
Massacre,
that one.
Wall Street.
Yeah, the
Mm,
Tulsa
Black
race.
Black Wall
massacre.
Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got Black Wall Street and
Yeah.
the Tulsa massacre.
Black
Those are
Wall
two
Street,
different things.
Tulsa massacre.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Black
The
Tulsa.
government bombed us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That happened.
Do you think that?
And
Do you believe that?
and-
Do you believe that that
perspective,
affects
No,
us to this day? Then
I want to provide
that
some
affects us to
context.
this day, right?
I want to provide some
But
context. And from a top-down perspective, that is 100% the exploitation of power, and less so the context I was referring to before, which is about explicit versus implicit bias. So I would agree that that's also systemic violence, but I would also point out that the remedy to that is
was
less
violent.
social justice and more legal accountability for the people with that power.
Yeah,
So
that was explicit violence. Yes.
That's why we need
That that
reparations.
was violence. So let me ask you this. Second part of the question. When in the 90s or late 80s, when pension funds were raided and were basically stripped away from average people, not white, not black, just your average working class humans. Is that any better? And
Only
on
Well,
surface
one
level,
lost all-
yes, I would
Huh?
say, because one, they burnt down the whole fucking street, and that's terrible. I'm not condoning that what happened to Tulsa should have happened. I'm not saying that.
You're,
I'm saying
just comparing and saying that they're somewhat equal.
I think the word better is doing a lot.
I wouldn't
of
say
heavy
equal. I
lifting.
wouldn't say
That's what I
equal
think lifting.
because
On the
So
same
equal's
footing.
kind of rough.
So let's
But-
offload the word better and let's decide what we mean, right? Do we mean better in the sense like
I don't mean
certain-
better. No, I don't mean
certain
better.
actions are, but here, let's figure out what we mean, right? Do we mean in
I
the
mean
sense,
both are corrupt.
do we mean
Both
it
are
in the
highly
sense-
corrupt.
Sure. So do
So-
we mean in the sense that certain forms
It's
of
not like a white or black
Hold on,
thing.
hold
It's
on,
like
So do we mean in the sense that certain forms of corruption are better because the things that they lead to are less harmful in ways that are atrocious, or do we mean better in the sense that it's better for the people who are experiencing it, or anything else?
I don't like
Okay.
this whole conversation of better because I don't think either one is better.
You
than the next.
use the wrong
But-
words. I get it. I do that too.
I was
But-
trying to help offload it into something more tangible, so that's why I was giving you to explain. what I
Will
mean.
say there was this whole segment where a lot of black owned businesses got burnt to the ground, and that was terrible. That was objectionably.
May I
Like,
may I ask real quick
it
because you
was a race
are
war.
pointing out. So if I may ask you just to be sure that we understand the things that I've been talking about with systemic racism and generational wealth gaps and everything that are caused by this kind of shit. You would agree that having something like that happen, where Black Wall Street gets burned down and everything, removes any chance for that generation of black people to build up wealth for their kids?
No, I actually would not say that. Says there's no chance. They have a harder chance. I would not say there's no chance.
Let's say
So-
no one hires them, and let's say that no one hires them because
You
no
see my
blacks may
point. You see what
apply.
I'm saying. You see what I'm saying.
I do what you're saying. They have a quote
lines we agree
chance,
along.
but they went from an
Yeah,
80% chance of
Reason,
of
don't focus
victory
on
to a
disagreement.
2% chance of victory.
Razor, don't
Yeah,
focus on
no.
the agreement. Bob, the lines that we
That's
agree
not the
along-
chance I'm saying.
The
That's
lines
not what
that
I'm
we
trying to
agree
say.
along is that we can agree that probably affected at least some black people's chances of having generational wealth.
True,
right?
true. But then let me push back also in that, and I promise I will try to circle it back to like a actual point. In 2008, we had pension funds and 401ks get fucking slaughtered. They got demolished. Like went from like people that that
You gotta
had
blame capitalism for that one.
no. Hold on.
Obama.
These all fall into the same bucket because at a certain point
Both of those things.
they
Let me ask something next, please.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And then
you'll
me.
get your turn, Melanie.
I'll simplify it.
Go ahead.
They want us to be arguing over which racial minority got hit worst. What I'm
Does anyone
saying
have
is,
that image?
what I'm saying is, we all got hit hard as fuck. I personally am not wealthy. I do not have a 401k. I do
Bro,
not
nobody's
have stocks
coming
in the
at
bank.
you, man.
Please
If
let
I
No,
may,
no,
if I
please,
no,
I-
okay,
no,
hold
no,
on,
no, no.
pause, Bob, hold on,
I'm
Bob,
not saying
hold on,
for
Bob.
that. I'm saying
apologize.
It,
I just-
it fits in my point. I'm saying that it's not like a white and black thing. It's that like it's a class
Okay, so-
thing. Like
So
there,
if we were, no, hold on,
is a level of
Bob,
class.
hold on, real fast. I agree with you that class is a thing, and we need to focus on a little bit on that, at least, especially with these primaries. Vote DSA. We need to actually get out there and switch around some of the establishment people and getting people who actually want to fight for us, like say Zoran Mamdani, Troy Jackson, and
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, go ahead.
the Democratic Socialists who actually have already
Mhm.
shown in less than 6 months
don't
that
agree
they
with
know
that.
what they're fucking doing. Look at how New York has gotten done with better in 6 months.
Can I give you
Beside
a
the point.
chance to respond. You got to.
Yes, I will give you. Yes, I apologize. Apologies. If anything, I was more shilling for DSA. Vote DSA. Moving on.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
the example you brought up of like people's retirement savings and investments falling apart, I would not count as a form of systemic violence. I would call that systemic failure. That did end up hurting people, but it wasn't necessarily a form of violence that can be targeted. On the other hand, the example of Black Wall Street was done to hurt Black people. It had
That was
the
that
power
was
to
definitely intentional.
discriminate.
No, that was
So
definitely
I just wanna
intentional.
point
Where
out-
people went in
I
and
gotta
burned
finish.
that shit to the ground.
Bob, I
Hold
didn't
on,
do my
Bob. Let her
turn.
finish. Let her finish.
I got to point out, you made an apples and oranges comparison there, something that has the power to discriminate and therefore has the capacity to be systemic violence, at least along the lines of the matrix of oppression, but we don't need to get into that again. Versus the investment funds failing, which wasn't necessarily a form of systemic violence.
It was a form of corruption, and so like my
But it's
point
not all
being that
corruption.
like no, but like
Again, Leith brought
it
Leith or
is.
Leithy, I don't know how to say it, but they brought up
It is corruption.
they brought
is-
up stereotypes. Do you think stereotypes are a form of corruption?
Depends how the stereotypes are funneled. And like that sounds fucked
So
up.
it doesn't
That
rely on it
sounds
though,
fucked up.
right?
No, but like it's not a like 8-1 recommendation, but they definitely use stereotypes to create corruption. That's
Wait, okay. Can we back up a little bit? So we
Hold on,
so we
hold on.
wait.
Last
hold on,
point.
before you do.
This is a super simple point that you can
Okay,
can
let me go
both
next.
be against classism and the ways at which people are oppressed according to identity. They don't have to be either or.
true, but
This is
do you
a- this
think
is a-
that classes are exclusionary to a certain race?
It can
No.
be. They're not
They can't-
necessarily.
Mhm.
Someone said no. Who
It
said
depends.
no?
I'm putting no, but I'm agreeing with Melanie. It can
I
be.
mean,
but I
can
say
be.
no a lot. Majority of the
That's fair. No, yeah, anything can be. You can have
Yeah, there's a reason that it's the
Any
same
type
thing
of
with
survey.
science. Nothing is 100%. We always be sure that we
All right, so-
measurements.
It's more
And
like the identity politics
this is a
for
point.
these classes between races that exist. So like the white
If-
patriarchy
now-
versus the
This is a
black.
point.
I have to say.
straight out of left field. I'm not trying to say anything towards anyone. This is straight out of left field. So, do we all agree that what Epstein did was very corrupt? I think Epstein personally.
Dude,
Very corrupt.
illegal.
I think it was.
I'll,
I don't know.
I'll
Do we
say
all
this,
agree
I
that it was
think-
bad?
I have to ask because some people don't.
No,
Some
I
people
don't
think
think
it's
Like
so.
fake.
Trump supporters, you mean, or I don't. What are we talking about here?
I
Republicans,
have to
man.
ask.
Republicans?
So
It was all
So
fake
what-
news.
no.
just saying.
It's not about Democrat Republican. It's some people think what Epstein did was real. Some people think what Epstein was fake. I personally think Epstein was a Mossad agent. I think
I think he was a bad guy. I'm gonna be real. I don't like the guy.
Honestly,
I think
wouldn't be
Israel.
surprised if
Yeah,
Israel.
no, I don't like
You're
it.
a bad guy. Absolutely
I
terrible
think-
guy. Terrible.
I think Ghislaine Maxwell was actually the pimp. I don't think Trump had really much.
Dude, what are we
He
doing right now?
I-
What are
His
we?
name
What's
has been there
happening?
over a million times.
Bob,
Let's
what
not-
are-
hold on. We're not moving on
Hold
to this.
on.
We're not
going
doing
further than
Let's
that.
break this down. Hold on.
Let's not
Right.
do that. Let's not go further into
dive
the
into
FC
it.
files.
No,
Please
no, no,
continue.
no,
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 no. Let's not tonight.
Let's dive into
Not
this.
tonight.
Let's
Not
dive into
tonight.
this.
Not tonight.
Let's dive into this.
No, what was your
Let's
point,
not
Bob?
tonight.
Why did you bring it up?
Yeah, why are we
bring it
talking
up?
about this?
What was the point you were going to make? I don't want to get into the FC files tonight. Maybe another time, but not tonight.
Why not? So you all think
Because
that Trump
it's past midnight,
Yeah.
and I like.
If
the
you had a point, I
conversation.
want to hear
I
it.
don't want to move on to anything else.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
Haven't
about
I
it.
like the
You're
conversation.
making cop outs.
The room.
Now it sounds
No,
like you're
next
afraid to hear the
time.
truth.
I legitimately don't
now
want to
it
talk about
sounds
it
like
right
Okay,
you're
now.
Bob.
afraid to hear the truth. Now it sounds like
No,
you're afraid to hear shit.
Bob, don't do
No.
this.
Now-
Don't do this.
Bob, don't.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
No, you're switching topics because you are switching topics right now. I don't want to switch topics.
Because it's
I want to
important.
continue
Because
this.
it's important.
I don't.
Why can't you explain to us why you brought this topic up?
Please.
Okay.
Tell us why you brought the topic up before anything else.
Okay. So you all think that this is all about Trump. I'll be the
No,
first
that's
to
not,
say-
we were talking about
No,
systemic
hold on,
injustice
stop.
and racism and
Stop.
shit.
You just told
You
me
brought
to
up-
explain what I'm doing.
You brought this
just
up.
told me to
No, why are you
explain-
bringing up the
you
Epstein
just-
file? Why did you?
You brought up
You
Epstein.
just told me to.
Why?
You just told me to explain why I brought it up, and then you won't let me explain why I brought it up.
Why did you bring up?
You said you all you all
said.
said something about Trump. We didn't talk. You brought this topic up. Why did you bring up this topic?
Yes, why? Like,
Okay.
the question we're asking is when we said why did you bring this up? We're asking in the contrast, not contrast. What's the word I'm looking for here?
In the context of the conversation that we're just having.
In the
Yeah.
in the context
Sorry, I was
of the
yelling, by the way.
conversation
Sorry
of
about that.
systemic. Why in the context of systemic issues did you bring up the Epstein files?
Just try to
Okay.
answer without putting words in our mouth. That's what we took issue
Mhm.
with.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. You ready? Okay. So this current story goes that we had Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell's father was Robert Maxwell.
Wait.
Her sisters.
We're not. Stop. We're asking why. Like, give us the reason.
Dude,
like,
shut
we
the
were
fuck
saying
up.
that.
Shut
No,
the
we
fuck
were
up. Are you
saying
kidding me?
that
Shut
we
the fuck
we
up.
were saying we
Shut
were
the
asking
fuck
you,
up. Shut
my
the
dude,
fuck up.
my
I'm
dude.
telling you what I'm talking about, and then I say one more thing, and you try to pivot off the topic.
No,
I
you were
didn't say
starting
Trump
to
again.
go over.
I
No,
didn't say
All
Trump
right,
again.
just being
I
real,
said one more name. Fuck
Pretty
you.
sure we don't want to litigate the Epstein files right now. This is
I
what
don't
we
want
don't
to
want
litigate
do.
the Epstein files tonight. I can
Because
do it
you're a
another
pussy.
night, maybe. I just don't tonight. I can do it. I just don't want to tonight.
Wait, we
I'm
just
cool
You
with
can
we
do
were
it.
having a
Not
conversation.
So do it.
You brought this
Dude,
up.
I don't
We want to
want
know
to
why.
do
We
it.
want to understand what you're talking about, man.
This is my.
You just
We don't know
said
what
you
you're
can do
talking
it.
about.
Right now, no. Right now, this is my
No.
channel, and
Oh,
no,
okay.
hold, pause.
No,
Can I
it's-
cut to the
I don't
Can I
have
cut
my-
to the quick on this?
It's
Can I
not
cut
your
to the
channel.
quick on
This
this
is
real
Horse's
quick?
channel.
Let
You
me-
just
Lathy,
said
let
you
me-
can
Lathy.
do
let
it.
me-
Not
let
anymore.
Leafy go.
You
Let
just
Leafy
said
go.
you can do
Let
it, so
Leafy
Just
do
go.
to
it.
cut
You
to the
just
quick
said
on
you
this.
can do it, so do it. You just
Anything
said you
Pause.
can do it,
Can
so
you
do
say
it.
anything
pause.
definitively, Bob? Can you say anything definitively with proof of what the entire situation with the Epstein files is?
Was
Or is it
going
all
into it, and
speculation?
then you all fucking
Do you
jumped down
know?
my throat.
Do you have definitive proof?
Is that what it takes? Are you all playing
Yes.
the all right,
Yes.
so
Otherwise, it's speculation, and
So-
nobody wants to pontificate on things we can't prove.
let me break it down.
Again,
Lenny.
I am
for,
again
for the fucking
future
autists in the
stuff.
crowd. Let me
No, I
Whoa,
need to
hey.
make sure you
down.
understand something.
let me break
Before
it
you go,
down. Let me break it
before you
down.
do,
Let me break
before
it
you
down.
No.
do, before you do,
You're all,
I don't
you're already saying
want
that.
to
You don't
litigate.
care.
You just
this
call us
you don't
fucking
care.
autists when you can't read the room.
Yeah.
I legitimately.
I am
This is
reading the
one.
room.
This
I've
is.
been in
I
here
am
for
currently
fucking
on
hours.
my. I am currently on my stream. I want to not go over this tonight. I can do it another time, but not.
So you don't want to go over time. So why do you
By
keep
the way,
asking me to go
Socrates,
over
that's a
it?
great
Because
shirt.
I'm telling.
Thank you, man.
Huh? Oh, him.
What is
I didn't
happening
hear
right
my-
now?
This is good.
This
Better
is
shirt.
be-
Not you,
this is
Razor.
becoming
Not you.
explicit violence, okay?
I got a picture.
What is happening? You just told me to
I mean,
go
I
over
did
it, then you said don't go
No,
over
I
it
did not
because
tell you
you're
to
on
go
your
over
stream.
the Epstein files. No, I did
I
not
said if
tell
you
to
got
go over the
proof.
files.
Yeah.
He-
I did not tell
he-
you to go over the
he
Epstein
just
files.
asked if I had
Lethy,
proof.
I
need
did
a
not.
definitive answer.
I will give you
I'm
the proof right
being
now.
driven insane. How do I pronounce your name, Leith/Lethy?
It's Lethy.
Or Lethy Water Kai.
Lethy.
Okay,
You are
I've
such
heard
a fucking
people also
cop-out.
say Leith, so I swear to God, I'm already
Some
bad with
people
names.
do.
My brain
It's
was
both.
like,
Both are
People
good.
didn't read Dante's Inferno. That's not on me.
you could also
Yeah.
be sure.
I'm actually reading it right now.
Where do you want me to start? Where
Got
should I
it right here.
start?
I
Give
want
me
you to
any,
explain.
not.
You
Okay,
want
hold on.
any,
Pause.
literally,
Hold on. No.
literally,
No,
give
let me
me
hold on.
any
Pause.
starting
No,
point. Razor,
I got you. No, I got
Razor,
it.
no,
I got it. I got it. Hold on.
Razor,
I got
Razor,
it. I got
Razor.
it.
I'm Razor.
me,
I'm
'cause it's
talking
my
to
channel.
Razor.
I
I'm
know.
talking directly to you right
Anyway,
now.
I know.
Give
I'm
me
answering.
any starting point. I'll give you a starting point.
The starting point
Literally
is let me finish. The starting point I need is with the systemic issues we were talking about.
I'm not
Explain
talking about talking points. I'm talking about objective facts of child
with the
Talking about
systemic
results.
issues we were talking about. We were talking about systemic issues. I want to go back to that.
Okay, so
I
you
want
want
to
a
talk about
completely
systemic
different topic.
issues.
So you want a completely different
You
topic.
went to a completely different
So-
topic.
Come on,
Can I
Razor. Why are you
moderate
changing
this for a
topic? We've been
second?
talking about Epstein all night, and now suddenly you want to talk about
I mean,
systemic
more than
injustice or
likely-
something? What the hell, man?
Now,
More than
That's
likely,
crazy.
we're getting into the Epstein class of people, and there's some cabal of people that are outside of everything else and deep state fun stuff, right?
okay, I want to
Okay.
change the topic to why Bob bought a dress shirt that looks like a hospital gown.
So now
Now
we're
we're
talking
gonna
about
insult Bob.
now we're
That's
talking
not
about
insulting.
Let's
fashion.
not.
It could be a good
let's
look.
not do
Fuck
that.
you.
Let's
You're a
not
fucking
do
piece of
that.
shit. Fuck
Let's
you.
not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Now you want to talk about fashion? Fuck you.
No.
Fashion's awesome. I would talk about. I do need to go to sleep.
Y'all
Let's
are
talk about
Melanie was
fashion.
Trying to
Y'all are
if anything,
cop-outs.
Melanie was trying
Y'all are
to.
fucking-
If anything, Melanie was trying to
Now
like
it's
just
late,
lighten the
and
mood.
you're proposing a wild ass topic that nobody wants to rack their brain about right
Yeah.
now.
You take issue
And you
with my-
proposed it
Because
It's one,
in a
Because it was
subterfuge
1
way.
It is quite
I-
literally 1 a.m. and you went from systemic issues to let's talk about the Epstein files. I was like, I don't
Because
want
it's-
to tonight.
Actually,
because
wait,
it's
4
important.
a.m. You're
It's
wrong.
It's not to this topic.
We're-
Not to this topic.
Not to this
Not the
topic.
topic.
No.
California
It's
time's the
important.
only time that matters.
It's important.
No.
It's important.
Not
Y'all
this
are
My
trying to talk about
identity.
Not to this
Y'all-
topic.
I identify as
The
an
topic
Eastern
we were
time
talking
zone.
about. It is
dude.
not.
Stop. Y'all are trying to talk about human trafficking, and then you don't
No!
want to talk about
You
it.
were. You were talking human trafficking
We were
way
trying to read
earlier.
Let me go back
We
and
were
check.
talking
We're
about
trying to
Let me
that.
go
reel
back
it back in. We were trying to reel it back.
Yes, we're trying to reel back to talk
We were
about
saying land
systemic
your
issues.
plane.
Talk about to what? What do you want to ask me? Ask
We're
me literally
talking
fucking
about
anything.
systemic
Y'all don't know what the fuck
issues.
you're talking
Off
about.
the rails now. We're never
Are
gonna.
you a Dan Bilzerian fan?
We're gonna need
No, I'm not.
Lethy, do you have
Fuck
mod
yeah.
powers?
No, I don't have any
has mod
powers, and I don't want any powers.
Are you asking who has mod
Well-
powers so you can kick me out?
No.
Well,
I
I
just
mean,
I
that's
need to
kinda
be
what
sure
you
we're
asked.
doing things. No, it's not.
That's kind of what you asked for.
It's only if anything, it's to be sure that no
To be sure
slurs
that I'm
get
not going to
said.
say anything
That no
TOS.
slurs get said. Yes.
To
If
be
you
sure
do, I
that-
have to kick you.
Yeah,
If it would, I would have to kick you. I
but
don't
like,
want TOS things.
but like, you're also not a
and I
mod, so
don't
you
know.
couldn't
And I
kick me.
don't know how. And I don't know.
That's why you had
how,
to ask.
let me
That's why
finish.
you
I
had
do
to
not
ask
know.
someone
I
else
do
if he is a
not
mod
know.
because you're not
I
a
do
mod.
not
So
know.
fuck you.
I don't know if talking about the Epstein files will possibly get TOS'd on me. So I'm trying to keep
Hey,
away from that for now.
No, it
God,
won't.
y'all are
Wait.
such.
I'm
Yeah,
being
I don't
y'all
think
are.
so.
You're
there-
being
I'm still very
fucking
new when it comes to streaming. I'm being sure.
Bob,
You
thank you
just-
for the chaos.
Razor,
You just asked someone else if they're a mod so that he could
Razor,
potentially kick me
Well-
because you don't have the power to kick me because you're fucking
Razor, let
pussy.
me break this down to you that you can't have this
Is that
convo.
fair?
You can find proof.
Are
Is
you
that
that
fair?
drunk? I feel like you're drunk. Are you? Because at this point, that's what it's feeling. Because we were having a nice conversation, and you
We are
have
having a
gone
nice
off the rails.
conversation. I still am.
No,
having a
we're
nice
not now
conversation.
because you decided to get hella hostile
Oh,
for no fucking
Razor, you're not having a nice conversation, but
Guys,
he
I know
is.
you're mad.
He's having a great conversation.
you
Just because you're
mad.
not having fun and we're not
You
having fun,
got
he's having so much fun.
You got hostile.
Buddy's
AF,
mad.
Bro,
You
he
got
has
hostile
mad.
AF,
ability
my
with a
dude.
sword in his hand. Okay, Razor, I'm taking Bob's side on this. Actually, I think you bringing up mod powers while you also threaten us with your sword, like it's some sort of dick extension, actually is something to be concerned about.
God damn.
It's Gold Excalibur. He makes me feel powerful.
It's a dick companion. It's not an extension.
fucking gold.
It's
No,
not a.
gold. It's fucking nickel at best.
My time.
So that sounds
Okay,
like
we were
an
trying to have a
organic
good
end to a
conversation about
conversation.
Yep.
systemic issues.
Well, this is really fun.
Trying to talk about I like talking about systemic issues.
I've just been
dude, like,
here,
we did
but
not
it was
need
cool.
to bring up Epstein.
Socrates, are you heading out?
Yeah, I'm a head out. It's actually 4 a.m. where I am.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. for me, and my girlfriend's like laying over there. So fuck.
Let's debate what
Not quite
time.
my tempo.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Bob,
This
I
was
wanna
really
talk
fun
to
hanging
you
out.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
have
Bob,
these combos. I like him. I don't mind him. Razor's the only one that seems like he doesn't like him. But
Bob,
What did you just hear me say?
I have to
love
say,
having these conversations. It's
you
1
do
a.m. and I
seem
don't wanna
you
talk
do
Epstein
seem drunk.
tonight. That's it.
Um.
He is because I saw him swig on Smirnoff earlier.
Okay.
It's totally allowed.
So
It's just a little.
I would say
do
that
not
maybe the
drink.
alcohol is
I
impairing
saw that.
you taking in some of the things that we're saying to you, and I'll leave it at that. And we should definitely chat more. And this was a lot of fun. It was really good to see you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a
Peace, peace,
minute,
peace.
Socrates. I was like, oh snap.
Yeah.
All right.
Chopping it up.
Take care.
First time meeting you myself. You have a good one.
Yeah. Follow me at Socrates TV. Check it out.
check it out.
Have a good
I'll
one.
look
Peace.
into it. Peace.
Oh.
Alrighty. See, were we following any of these people? No, okay. I'm just gonna chill.